All right, Dynasty versus Dragons. We do Dynasty versus Dragons. We'll start from the beginning. I'll try and not. Okay, so here's the blessing and curse. You guys ready for the blessing and the curse? So the blessing for you guys in chat is that we don't have the replays because I won't be as Janjalawala. Thank you for the follow. Is I'm not gonna like be super specific with it because you know I don't have replays, so I'm not gonna have a good POV of like everything that's happening. The bad thing is we don't have a replay, so we're not gonna be able to always see what's happening. So I'm gonna give you my best guess, my best feedback, etc. Okay. K-Kona fake, yeah. Whatever. Okay. I'm reviewing Dragons versus Fuel. No, not Fuel. I'm an idiot. Dynasty Showmatch live on stream. Wait, I gotta remove that big man. Give me a second. Live on stream. Shout out to Avril. I think this is Avril. This has to be Avril, right? So I'll tell you guys how I know Avril in a second. Yeah. Okay, give me a second, chat. All right, there we go. Okay, we go. So we'll talk about Avril. So Avril is, I mean, I guess he did a couple, I don't know what he's up to now. He's an Overwatch caster. I think he did a couple OWL games with Pixie and Avril. Those guys are really cool because they did the Australian Grand Finals Season 1 last year when I was down in Sydney, and we got to hang out backstage with them a lot, just chill and eat and talk, and really funny guys, really nice guys. And I actually, I was a fan of them before we even went to Sydney. I don't know a lot about casters, but they always impressed me as like having a relatively decent game knowledge and being very personable and just having good personalities. I really hope they get the opportunity for Overwatch League because I think they deserve it. I think they're the best contenders casters that out there in any region that speaks English. I think Avril and Pixie were the best contenders casters. So I hope that they get the opportunity to go over this. So I'm excited to like actually see him do this. I am going to have audio on a little bit because I want to hear like game audio and stuff. I'm not going to be like paying much attention to his commentary, so mostly just focusing on gameplay. And yeah, if you guys have any questions, just HMU, and we're going to go over this as quickly and as efficiently as we can. Focusing mostly on macro stuff. Not going to go over like composition. Not going to go over, like hero, like individual mistakes and stuff too much. Nor am I going to go into like roster stuff because I'd like, who knows at this point in time, like how good these individual players are, and that's never been something I've like put a lot of focus on. Ask Spilo. Yes, put that in Ask Spilo. Good question though. But yeah, okay, let's talk about it really quick. So first thing first is this is going to be, I assume, Sombra Tracer, Ball Diva, Briggs in. So it's like traditional Briggs in composition, but considering that it's Koth and that everything is faster paced and tighter sightlines, spammier heroes aren't as attractive. So something like an Ashe isn't as attractive because obviously Ashe benefits from having Mercy, but Mercy is pretty sketch in such a tight map, as is Ashe. So you want to play more fast-paced heroes that are self-sufficient. So which is why we're likely going to be seeing Tracer and not Ashe. So no Mercy, no Ashe. You need the peel for the Brig versus with the Zen because the enemy team is going to be running a faster tempo. Now the Diva is the unusual choice here. And it's something that I'm not surprised to see, but I think it's worth mentioning because in general, Koreans tend to have stronger Divas and stronger Winstons on the tank line. Whereas with Europe, it's more like, generally it's like, oh yeah, they're like better at the other tanks. There's more of a gap with Korean off tanks with Diva and Winston because those, I'm not really sure why, but Korea kind of has always favored dive. So that's not a surprise in of itself. Especially because, you know, this is post-Sigma nerf, so people are trying different things and experimenting with stuff. The unusual thing, not the unusual thing, but the thing worth mentioning is that Diva is going to have a very difficult time with Brig Zen because whereas self-sufficient, partially self-sufficient, very self-sufficient, Diva not so much. Diva is like in a situation to where she has to play like ridiculously conservative because she's got a massive hitbox. She has no shield, and she has no way to regenerate HP. So any damage that Diva takes is permanent, and it's difficult to heal up because she's got such a massive hitbox and a massive amount of HP. She has a lot of armor, more armor than she used to, so that is a plus because you take a little less damage with armor. But this is a problem, and this is why I don't believe this composition will stick around for very long. In other words, I don't think this is like the new meta comp. I think this is a transitional comp that we're probably going to move away from in a month, if not sooner. I just don't think this comp synergizes particularly well. You're running a spammier backline that's good at map control, but that does a terrible job of keeping up your diva. So I think teams will try this out, and it's going to go fine, but I don't think this is a comp that's going to be sticking around tonight. Okay. They will not stay Lucio. This Lucio is just a speed TP out. It's like a min-maxing thing. Because you can speed boost and then bash, take TP.
Okay, Fitz versus Lip. We've seen this before. We've seen Seoul versus Shanghai. Previously, Seoul...
So, chat, I'm going to, again, clarify really quickly. Remember, this entire compositional matchup boils down to, if we draw the point here, and then there's, the little flank here, there's a little road, and then Team A rolls out from here, and Team B rolls out from here. The entire way to win is to control an angle or angles. You can't always control both, but it's going to boil down to which team controls this one or which team controls this one. And if you win the flank war, remember either the person that's on the flank war dies, in other words, maybe it's a ball versus tracer mirror, and the tracer screws up and dies, in which case you win, right? Or the ball tracer wins the matchup, the enemy ball tracer runs back to the team because they lost. So there's a collision here, blue versus yellow. Yellow loses the trade because maybe they don't get Harmony or Discord, or maybe one does, or maybe they get Sombra helps or whatever. They run squealing back to the team with their tail behind their legs. Maybe not all the way back to the team. And then Team Blue takes this opportunity to advance space, to deepen their angles, and maybe even to go for backline. And that's how these matchups boil down to. What happens on this lane here generally has very little impact on how the fight goes. You very rarely see right-click kills or okay, they just the ball just rolled in on main and slammed. That very rarely happens. And so what teams have to decide is which side do we prioritize? Do we prioritize point side or do we prioritize this side? On this map, I haven't had enough experience with this composition in this map to tell you. I don't know which one is more powerful. Maybe this mega is really important to have hacks, so people fight over this mega because for regeneration for your ball. Maybe there's better cover on this side of the map as well, so you want this for your Brig Zen. Maybe getting point side early is really important because if you get point side early, then you always get first cap. So I don't really know. My coaching is not going to be on as much map specific stuff and more about how the teams play.
I think got carried by a playoff Prophet. They got carried by.
So notice that Marvel's by himself. So what does Marvel do? Marvel sees the entire enemy team rotating this way, so he gives up the space. He can't win that fight. So if he stays there, he's just going to be taking 1v6.
On ball. I don't think either.
Okay, so we can already see how it's boiled down. Right now, I'm not going to draw another black thing, but this is controlled by blue. This is controlled by red, which means red is probably going to get first point cap, but you can argue that red controls less of the map, so their backline has less options in terms of kiting and movement. They can really only stay back of point. So they get the point cap, but at what cost is kind of what we have to figure out.
The players necessarily super.
So you're going to see here.
You go fit. I don't think either carried by Gesture Hog. Gesture Hog and playoffs are so good. Fate versus Marvel on ball.
So you're going to see Prophet spy checking. Here's the Sombra. Sombra is looking to stage pressure on the backline. I doubt Red will look for a dive until Brig Zen come to here, right? And Brig Zen don't have to come here until point unlocks. So Sombra might be staging a dive. She might be hacking megas or minis. She might just be farming ult charge. I'm not sure. But they do scout her out. But you notice how Ball Tracer right now, they're literally doing their best to control this angle here. They do not want to give up this part of the map. They don't give a rip. Like Ball Tracer aren't shooting here. They don't care about this. This is where fights are won or lost because it's either what lets them go in and dive or what prevents the enemy team from going in and diving them. Okay?
Super well known for
so
ball.
He finds Sombra.
I don't think either player's played poorly in ball either. They've been pretty good on ball. Fate actually was pretty decent.
And do you see how the teams are supporting their Sombras on the angles? You see how they're not even pocketing who's on. They don't give a rip who's on main. They're looking to win this flank war because if Lip is forced out, that means that their Sombra can deepen and they can either build more ult charge or they can get a kill. There it is.
Void is my big.
So that's huge. That's actually really, really huge. Lip either his translocator positioning wasn't good or he was late on asking for support, so now he's out of the angle.
Now we know 2 years been pretty good as well. But Void honestly.
Marvel's doing a ball 1v1. Prophet is feeding? I don't know what Prophet's doing.
Void is.
So Prophet is on main. You can see right here, Prophet is on main. I assume his job is to try and stall point, but they're forfeiting main right now.
Player to look out for now.
If it's just Prophet. Prophet's discorded.
Void honestly.
Prophet's stalling point and just gets smashed. So that's a big mistake in Prophet. Like, Prophet can't die there. He can't die. He can't get discorded that early, and he shouldn't die there. So that was a discorded whip shot, which is going to be what? It's 30% now, so it's going to be 91 damage. But this shouldn't happen. Like, you can't dive to this. Like, red is going to get point cap for free, but blue is winning the map control, right? They're winning the angles and flanks. Prophet is trying to stall, but he cannot trade his life for it.
I think Void was the best player yesterday that we saw across all of them.
And now there's no angle control. Marvel has no support. It's over.
That looks like a hack plus Discord. It's a trade 1-for-1.
Fate dies? How does Fate die?
I think Void was the best player yesterday that we saw across all of them. DJ Gon has instantly got a frag Prophet.
Fate gets hacked.
Hack plus Discord.
So it's still winnable by blue. So like Shanghai really needs to make sure that they don't just int now. Remember we saw that last fight, last review with the McCree, where they got a pick and then they pushed in, but they pushed in without like actually clearing angles, and they pushed in too fast. Shanghai has map control, but they don't have control of the angles yet. They can't just W key in, and Fate does this and gets punished for it.
Trade 1-for-1 between both of the main tanks here on the ball.
You see how blue, like the blue's not even necessarily, doesn't even really need to run here. They're fine. I mean, Fleta make pops. Oh, whoa, Fleta is on Tracer, or on Echo. Yo, chat, we missed this. Chat, I missed it. I messed up. How did I miss this? He's on Echo.
Every single fight between.
So what this means is that the Echo is like, could be just be a hero specific like strength, but it means that there's like less pressure in controlling flanks. But if they do go for, like, if they do get a hack, that hack is probably going to die because they follow up damage, especially if the hack's on a tank. Like if you Echo, there's immense damage to Echo, to Diva and Ball. And it's like arguably the only DPS that can kill those guys reliably. So a hack on Ball and Diva is no longer, oh, we have to pocket them, you know, matrix them. They just die. They just die. So I assume the Echo pick is hero, like, comfort pick. But it's also, like, it puts a lot more lethal threat on the front line.
Both of the main tanks here on the
But Creative dies. Creative is a little Creative eats, oh yeah, Creative hits a headshot, looks like, from Fleta. Because Creative is discorded.
Both of the main tanks here on the balls.
And see, right there, bang, 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 there's the headshot. And then he's going to drop. So that's either from Zen or Echo.
Lip is on 56. We're expecting Lip, by the way, to be able to get like an
a bit of a misplay by Creative in the Seoul Dynasty backline.
That's already pretty good. Fitz is out of the fight. This is where Lip can really take over.
So chat, this is where the concept comes in really, really important here. So like, as Blue's regenning. So remember how we talked about the points here, you know, and the sightlines here. So what Seoul should not do is walk out here and take a fight here. What Seoul needs to do is they need to clear out an angle before taking the fight first. So, no, you have to play for angles. You have to play for angles. It doesn't matter what tempo you're playing. If you're playing for hack engages, you're playing for hack engages on angles. The entire game of Overwatch is playing for angles. It's just how you do it is different. So when Seoul is retaking here, they're going to probably either clear high ground and drop, or they're going to path all the way through this way. They clear these guys out with their backline, their whole team goes in here, and then they split off, and then they clear out from this way. Because if they go down main, they're going to get shot from this way, and this way, and this way. But if they go out this way, right, from this way, they're only going to get shot from this direction, right? And that's okay. Yeah, no problem. Sorry, that was a little brusque, but I'm trying to, like, stay on topic here. So like, I'm very interested to see how Seoul Dynasty paths.
Lip is going to use this very quickly.
I would be surprised if they just walk out main. Lip should not be translocating out.
So it's early cap.
So actually,
Lip is going to use this very quickly.
So why Lip is translocating out is he's defending his translocator. So he sees Fitz is able to rotate for free. Like Fitz gets a really clean rotate there, which is really sucky. And you notice how Prophet and Fitz are rotating ahead of time. They're going ahead. And they're trying to clear out force space. And this works because it forces Lip to translocate out. He's going to have to reposition with his team and reposition his translocator. I'm actually a little concerned here because he's completely outside of his support LOS.
Right now, if you're Seoul, you have no idea how much.
Yeah, so he gets ball help.
They might even.
But do you see how like Lip has to like all of a sudden position his translocator even further away? So they didn't clear out an angle with their core. What they used is they used their flankers to clear out an angle on the right opposite side and force the Sarma to go back and reposition translocator. Like this is next level mind games here.
Honestly, if you're Seoul, you probably assume Lip already has EMP. That's how dangerous he is. So right now we're waiting.
So really heads up play from Shanghai, but also a really heads up play from Seoul, but also a really heads up play from Shanghai in terms of like reacting to that play. I'm not even sure that Seoul was necessarily
has
trying to do that on
transcendence,
purpose.
by the way, no trans.
Okay, so now once again we've rotated. We can draw a line in the sand. Seoul's here. Dynasty dragons are here.
No trans. Are these the two best teams in the
Okay,
tournament?
so here's the EMP.
Actually, I think Guangzhou.
Now the question is are dragons going to forfeit their angles? Because their angles, remember, are around point. They have angles, multiple angles around point. They've got their Zen in the back shooting this way, some like people on the side shooting this way, people on the side shooting this way. And so if people walk on a point, they get EMP'd here. But both teams are kind of stalemating and building ult charge right now. Now what you can do is if this is point here, and this is how like Dragon's backline is set up, right? They're shooting this way. I need to start using the proper colors. I'm gonna do it right now. If Seoul is set up here, or Dragons are set up here, and Seoul are set up here, do you see how Seoul's like kind of set up like here? Or, oh my gosh. Seoul is set up, I'm not gonna erase. If Seoul's set up here, and they've got like angles here, what Dragons can do is they can say, you know what? I'm gonna push through and screw the map control. I'm just gonna jump in and cheat and try and just EMP you really fast. And sometimes that works. Sometimes just pressing W without like actual good macro fundamentals works, especially if it's a big ultimate like EMP. Now the question is going to be who is going to get EMP'd, because if it's if D.Va can avoid EMP and obviously Briggs in, then they might be able to peel off their ball in Sombra. But if D.Va does get EMP'd, it should be a fight win for Dragon. So let's see how Lip does here.
Shanghai might be the two best teams, but we'll see. I don't want to underrate. I don't want to.
Oh wow! So Fitz must have known this was coming. Fitz must have. I mean, they know he has EMP. And you know, by the way, chat, what's really important about Fitz versus Lip right now? What do you guys notice about Fitz versus Lip? What's the difference in what's happening with, like, what's the difference with Fitz and Lip right now? What do you guys see? One is uncloaked, and that's really important, right? Now, Lip is trying to be sneaky, so he is cloaked up. But obviously the D-Stealth animation has a voice line, right, exactly, has a voice line and an animation. So that it's easy to counter EMP if you do that. Now, the key thing here is that if Lip doesn't go for this EMP, he could technically, quote-unquote, bait EMP and then get peeled himself, and maybe he'd survive. And even if Lip died and got solo EMP'd and died, Shanghai doesn't immediately lose this, because they're coming up in support ultimates, they still have good positioning, and they have point control. So it would, like, this is a big play, but it is a high risk, high reward play here.
I'd be the two best teams, but we'll see. I don't want to underrate. I don't want to underrate Seoul. Lip got cancelled. Lip got cancelled by Fitz.
And you notice how like Shanghai is how they were set up for the EMP. Did you notice that they weren't even planning to all press W? They already had their ball behind to be able to follow up. So that even though they were like, oh, just press W and go in, they still had somebody on an angle pushing through, because it's that important.
Nice.
So that's huge. So now what Seoul really needs to do here is they need to not rush.
That deserves a
They need to do my concern. Because here's my concern. Here's my concern. My concern is that yes, it was canceled.
Cancelled by Fitz.
But Seoul is now, they're still clumped up here. Like, this is the point. Seoul is still like all in this little lane here, and Dragons are still like this. You're not going to be able to just brute force your way in like this unless you have another ultimate, and they don't. Now, if they could build up a rally or maybe get a stick, maybe. But this is not like Dragons are still very comfortable with this. And remember, they also have the Echo, who, while she's maybe not as good on the flank control, like she's not going to 1v1 a Tracer and Sombra very easily, but if you just walk through a choke, Echo is going to murder you way more than a Tracer is. So I don't know. Dragons have not lost this. Like,
Lips EMP.
Chat.
I've only ever seen that once before. Okay, sorry, I'll reduce the.
So we look at this fight here. 1 kill, 2 kill. Li Jaegong gets stuck. So that's the big one, right?
I've only ever seen that once.
Izayaki chooses not to trance, which is unusual because he basically has a free trance here. Maybe he's waiting for like a hard dive or saving for something else.
Okay, sorry.
So Prophet pops off.
The Chinese volume. My bad. I'll reduce the Chinese volume. Alright. Profit's here as well. Still fragging. Lee J gone.
Still not lost.
And Izayaki both died without using ultimate.
Still not lost, and still stalled.
Flitter's copied over to a Tracer. That could be big. Flitter Tracer.
Did you see what I'm saying? Do you see what I'm saying? Do you see how, like, even though massive play, canceled the MP, killed the Sombra, they're still not winning the fight? And in all actuality, the only reason that this is even close is Prophet is literally just popping off. He, like, solo killed, like, 3 people. It's like a hero play with a stick. And you could argue that Izayaki probably should have tranced. Like, I think trance there would have been much preferable, considering that there's a free EMP gone. But, so the way you'd have to deal with it is you can't, like, you would either, number one, you'd have to make a hero play. Like, that's a possibility, but you don't plan around that. There's only 2 things that you can do. One, you can pop a support ultimate and cheat, right? You could just trance, or probably you prefer a rally because you can keep shooting with your Zen, and just W key and just rush in. That way, yeah, you're going to get screwed from angles, but you have the HP and survivability to just ignore it and just push in with your mana advantage. Or you quickly set up your angles and push. You quickly. You have the advantage. There's Sombras in spawn. Go now. Send off your little octopus arms and go. Even just on one angle, if you wanted to do it. I think you know, Prophet was already set up on the angle. Maybe he wasn't. No, I don't think he was. But like, just go. Like, get Fitz off of main and send him on the corner and just go. Because now there's no Sombra to mark him anymore. Just go. What's the difference in advantages? Well, the difference in advantages is the like, sometimes you just don't have that support ultimate that you can rush in with. So you don't really have an option here. Like in this situation, Seoul's wasn't close to their rally. So Seoul, in my opinion, Seoul had to do their homework. They had to push the ankle. They don't think they could cheat. But if you had both, for example, let's say you had rally and you had the opportunity to push, I think it depends on the situation. If they're all like full HP, maybe you would push here. It depends on who you kill too. Like, for example, if you killed Zen, you can probably just push in because, you know, Zen is not going to be, like, Zen doesn't do enough damage. But if you kill like Sombra Tracer, then that's an angle, that means there's a lot less flank control, right? So that becomes more attractive, if that makes sense. So in other words, if they lose a flanker or somebody who's controlling the angles, then you can push the angles. If they lose a backliner, you can just cheat. It's a little less unattractive. It'd be better to angle based on bad positioning. I'm not sure what you mean by that, but I'm saying, I mean, you could. I'm saying in this circumstance here, they're already set up. You should go on the flanks because they lost their Sombra, so there's no resistance on the flank. Like, I kind of understand what you're saying, but the Shanghai's not badly positioned. They're good positioned, so there's no way to like cheat it.
On the duplicate
yeah,
could be big.
It is big.
No
like,
stick, though. He's got no one to stick.
So there's like.
Oh, okay.
Oh, flat out careful.
Okay. By the way, somehow, Fitz countering Lips EMP, Prophet fragging, Lee J gone and Izayaki dying. Soul didn't cap.
Okay, can we just take a moment?
Okay.
Because you got, like, I'm gonna pat yourself on the back because now you know why they didn't cap. You don't have to scratch your head and be like, man, how did? Now you know exactly why Seoul didn't cap. Their macro fundamentals were weaker. They just didn't do it properly. I mean, they might be smarter, but they didn't do it. Fit or Izayaki aren't effectively controlling the flanks, so it'd be better going to angle. Yeah, exactly, because there's no Fits, or there's no lip, so you can just go in the flank. So now you know why they lost. Now you know why, even though they canceled EMP and got a kill, they still didn't win. Now you know.
He's got no one to stick, though. He's got no one to stick.
Okay, so they're stalling, they're delaying. They get a DMAC on Diva, which is massive.
Oh, okay.
That's going to buy so much time.
Okay, by the way, somehow, Fitz countering Lips EMP, Prophet fragging.
And Prophet is way too aggressive. He's way mistimed. Like, if you look at how his team is positioned right here, they're just farming Diva mech. He really needs to not die. And even though they're rallying now Prophet's on the exit. when his Prophet should be going in when they're rallying in. So Prophet is severely mistimed his pressure here. And he's lucky he didn't get headshot there as well.
Dying. Soul didn't cap. Soul didn't cap the point. They didn't win the fight.
So do you notice, chat, why does Lee Jae-gong rally? Wait, let's see when Lee Jae-gong rallies.
Okay, by the way, somehow...
Why does Lee Jae-gong rally... They're already rallying. Why does he rally now? Why does he rally now? Okay? Again, I'm not going to give you guys a lot of time to answer. The timing is that Seoul is rallying, They're preparing to take space. But Shanghai already has the angles. They already have the space. They have the map control. So they're like, okay, I guess we'll also rally. And it's going to be stalemate. A stalemate favors the composition or the team with the map, but also, or with the point, excuse me, but also with the map. Because Seoul Dynasty still have no flank controls, no angles. Seoul Dynasty's backline is still in a fundamentally, well, arguably worse position than Shanghai. Seoul Dynasty still has to walk and do the gauntlet on the point. And if they're mirrored on rally, they're not going to be able to just, oh, back up, guys. We have no. So Prophet's mistimed. Li Jiagong mirrors rally, which is really smart.
They didn't win the fight and kept the point. Shanghai's on 94,
and
guys.
that's it. Like, look at that. Like, just Marvel goes in, but do you notice this set? Do you see the problem with Prophet's positioning now?
Dying. Soul didn't cap.
Look at the problem with look at the problem with look at the problem with how Soul's going in. Look at this. Marvel rolls down main with no angle or flank control or help from his Sombra or Tracer. And because he rolls down main, he takes damage on entry and he gets hacked because Sombra is literally looking right at him. There is no distraction, there's no surprise, there's no anything. It is the easiest hack in the world. He rolls down main and feeds. His timing is off, his engagement placement is off, and he just dies.
Win the fight and kept the point.
Like, GG's.
Shanghai's on 94, guys.
It's GG's.
96 now. Creative's ulting. The Marvel's already.
So the only thing
dead.
Prophet could do here is get a stick. Okay, there it is. Like, oh my gosh. Jeez. That's like this.
As well, that's a pulse from Prophet. It's pretty sick. That's good. That's going to bring Soul back into line a little bit.
Huge.
Zenyatta 1v1's won by Izayaki, so Creative's gone as well. TU has to remake.
So the ironic thing is now Seoul Dynasty is on point, but now they're surrounded. But Seoul Dynasty is still surrounded, so like it's not going to matter.
Lips coming back with another EMP.
Huge hack.
Like
Bye-bye,
really
Marvel.
Fitz hardcore. He's farming EMP.
Fate tries to stall. Solo EMP on the Tracer.
That's worth it. You're going to ask me.
If he can get the kill, though. There was no follow-up.
He doesn't get the kill, though.
Yeah.
That's a bit disappointing.
I'm curious to see what ultimates are used here.
Soul didn't cap. Soul didn't cap.
What happened to the ultimates? So I'm gonna mute for a second. Just look at the ultimates. So the rally was mirrored. They mines on point. It looks like they pop trance. Izayaki pops trance. I don't know why Izayaki pops trance. That seems to be a very poor trance. Li Jiagong gets stuck. So what was an unlosable fight is now a losable fight. Izayaki pops trance for I don't know why. Mirroring trance is significantly like trance is like one of the things that you do want to try and use second. Remember we talked yesterday about like ulting first or using cooldowns first is just kind of, it doesn't matter. It's just like whoever uses it and gets the most value out of it. But like there is an argument for trancing second because you can let your team take damage and then heal that damage back up. So for me, like I don't know why Izayaki trances. It was not a wise decision. Prophet pops off. Now this kill matters. Toyu does get Diva Bomb. And then Fate seems a little desynced with this team. For like right now, Fate is very hard focused on stalling point. But this is really important, chat. Half of Shanghai right now is not focused on supporting point. They're focused on getting the kills on the flank. So half of Shanghai is like, you know what, let them cap. We're going to kill this ball, and then we're going to kill them. But half of Shanghai is also, oh, we need to stall point. Like if you look at where Harmony Orb is on, it looked like Harmony Orb was on Echo for a little bit there. But like these guys are focused on stalling point. And these guys are focused on killing the flanks. And that's no good. You either commit to the stall and ignore the ball, like let him stage, or you need to like call the peel back, like let them have point, run away, take no damage, kill the ball, and then go deal with point. So there's a disconnect. There's a disconnect with what's going on. So there's a lot of mistime pressure. Like right now, they should not be pressuring point. So Marvel is almost happy to take the 2v1 here and die because he knows that his team is taking the 4v3 elsewhere. So Shanghai throws away an advantage unnecessarily. And Void looks like he also dies in remeching bomb, whereas Toyo did not. Also, the solo MP doesn't really have a lot of follow-up either. That's really, really unfortunate. Li Jiagong going Lucio is also pretty rough too. Because this fight is now, lost, and now you've wasted a little bit of ult charge. Okay. So, hero play by Prophet, and then Shanghai's team play kind of devolves at the end.
Here are the two things I'm surprised about. One, I'm surprised at Seoul for all the efforts in mid-game. They didn't actually cap. Shanghai maintained the cap to 99. Second thing, Shanghai at 99 with like 5 ultimates. They had 5 ultimates. They had both support ultimates. They didn't actually cap. Shanghai maintained the cap to 99. Second thing, Shanghai at 99 with like 5 ultimates. They had 5.
Okay. So, here's my concern. I don't love this because Shanghai, they should track properly. Now, chat, what's the problem with this? Do you guys see a visual problem with this? Now, I'm being nitpicky, but this is Overwatch League. I can afford to be nitpicky. What's the problem? And I'm going to wait for somebody to answer this because I think it's really important. What's the problem? Look at the ults, look at the positioning, and tell me what's less than spectacular about this. Where's Seoul? Now, you have to understand something. That EMP is one of those ultimates that you really don't want to telegraph. So there's an argument for, you know, hiding members of your team and hiding your follow-up and making it less obvious because it gives them an opportunity to play around it. But to me, I think this is a little too far in the spectrum of hiding it because your Zen is literally like this is. I don't even know where your Brig is, but I think, yeah, Tracer's over here. Like, there is no follow-up here. Or there's going to be very little follow-up. It's going to be very late. My other concern as well is the fact that he's going for it this aggressively. But if you look at the ult bank on Shanghai, which they should have tracked accurately, they know no EMP, they know no mines, they know no bomb, they know neither support ultimate, certainly neither support ultimate yet, and they probably know that Fly doesn't have quite ultimate. There's no real rush. You can let Shanghai waste more time, like probably could have waited another 7 to 8% and wait for Shanghai to push forward a little bit earlier and then do it. So this feels a little too proactive because you're going to get the kill in the Zen. But I don't know that you're going to get a lot more cleanup. And that's concerning because that means that this fight's going to be a very quick loss for Shanghai and they're going to be able to come in next fight, which you don't want. And not only that, but it's not just the speed, it's the ult charge that you miss. Because you EMP everybody, or you EMP 2 or 3, and then because the enemy team is forward, you can kill all of them before they run back to spawn. But based off these positioning here, a lot of Shanghai may be able to run back to spawn, and that's, 200, 200, 600, 600, 200, and that's like all the ult charges you're throwing in the trash. And again, the time wasted as well. So my concern is that it feels like a too high tempo of a plan considering what Shanghai has. And I don't know if there's going to be enough follow-up for you to get the cleanup kills and waste much time. Remember, when you have an advantage, you want to milk as much time out of that advantage as possible in most circumstances.
Support ultimates and a bunch of other things.
Okay.
Instant win. It's a good start from Fitz. But Shanghai are just going to reset off that one. They're not going to lose anybody else.
Right, did you notice that, chat?
I'm going to be real. That's probably not the highest value EMP.
They get a huge boop on Fate. Okay, that's actually really, really big. Because now Animo is just like, boink, up to, how much ult charge is that?
It's a good start from Fitz.
It's like 30, almost, it's like 25% ult charge. That's huge. Or not 25%, but
I'm
like,
going to be real. That's probably not the highest value EMP.
Yeah, like 15. That's huge, and that's good too because that was that's a couple seconds later you delay the fight out. But you can kind of see here like how little, like obviously you get the kill on Fate, but that almost felt like a little bit disconnected. But hey, that's not a lot of ult charge. Diva got out alive, Li Gong got out alive. Fleta looked like he got out alive as well. So that's a lot of ult charge and not a lot of time wasted. So there's going to be 2 more fights. 2 whole more fights before this point is capped.
Reason for that is,
so I agree with Avo here.
Not committed to the fight. They're pretty close to spawn. Yeah, you're going to EMP 2. Fate will get knocked off the side. That's actually big for Animo because Animo will get a huge amount of ult charge for that.
Okay, so Shanghai has to retake the angles now. They have to clear out space and whatever.
Fitz has to start his EMP all over again. Lip is at 51. So now, very clearly now Lip is ahead of...
So I'm curious to see, like, this is where I think the Echo is going to feel a little weaker, where you don't have good cover to play around of and get good spam. You're going to have to kind of push into, like, open space, and that's going to feel a little bit clunky. So Fleta will probably stay. I'm not sure, maybe this is just, like, Shanghai's strategy, or, like, Fleta is just really not as good at the Tracer, but this feels a little bit clunky.
Fitz has to start his EMP all over again. Lip is at 51, so now very clearly... It's a huge boop. Very clearly now Lip is ahead of...
And it feels a tad early as well. It's really hard...
Now, Fitz has to start his EMP.
It's really hard for me to see where Shanghai's positioned there.
At 51, so now...
Yeah, it does feel a little early from Fate. He's going to take a lot of damage really fast and die. Looks like it. Oh, maybe not.
Fitz has to start his EMP all over again.
Promise this. I wish there's a better way to like go back and forth without going like an hour back, in Twitch. Okay, so Echo's in, Sombra's in. So that's good. Like, Fate survives, and they do clear out Prophet at the same time. So, I mean... That was really, really close and probably a little early from Fate, but like they have the right idea. Do you notice how much, like where Shanghai's DPS are positioned as compared to Seoul's? Do you notice how they're prioritizing like the map, the side of the map, and not the point, and not like the main? I think this makes just a lot more sense. This just makes like this makes just a lot more sense. This is what you want. Because like you want some pressure on main, but you see how like now what has happened is, whereas before we had Seoul, who is very much looking like this. I'm trying not to draw these like every single time, but I think it's good here. Whereas with Seoul you had like, you know, this and very, very little map control here. If we flip it, now we have Seoul, who's, you know, now they're the X's on, you know, on point, and they've got all the angles here. But Shanghai, instead of going like just like, you know, or smashing their heads into the wall here, they're actually putting pressure here and then clearing this out. Do you notice that? And what happened? What happened to Lip or the Prophet? They actually went this way. They gave up the side of the map. So now Shanghai has this, right? Instead of Seoul, who only had this. And what this means is now that Shanghai can actually walk onto point, and they're only going to get shot from, you know, 2 different directions, potentially, rather than 3. And not only that, but their Salma Tracer are going to be able to actually directly access the Brig Zen. I mean, Brig Zen are going to have to rotate away from here even, and that's not going to feel good. So really, really nice retake from Shanghai. They don't have a lot of ultimates, but it's well done. And there's a rally. So look at this. Awkward rotate. They're getting surrounded. Look at the HP of Prophet. Look at the HP of the tanks. You see this? Do you see this, Prophet? Do you see Prophet? It's like something out of like it's like a Three Stooges movie. It's like, he doesn't know where to look, right? This is it. This is map control right here. Do you see how Briggs are positioned here? You see, like, this is wide open to spam from this angle here. Like, maybe now Izayaki could get a right click because his Salma Tracer forced the Zen to play in a really awkward position, right?
Yeah, Fitz is nearly dead. That's really
but and do you see what happens? Animo reactively has to pop a rally just to survive. Shanghai haven't done anything. They haven't done a thing outside of clear an angle. They haven't committed to a fight at all. And there's the defensive rally. So now Shanghai, it kind of sucks because you have to basically reset. You basically just give up all the angles because now you can't contest them because the enemy team is going to have rally armor, and so they're going to start pushing you. But that's okay. You know, you took about 20 seconds of work and you traded it for an ultimate. And now next fight, you're going to have more freedom with what you're going to have on this ult bank, and they're going to have 1 fewer ultimate to commit to the fight. So it's a trade. We have to use an ultimate to hold our space. And right now, Shanghai is willing to give that up. I assume that's so anyway.
But Shanghai are taking a lot of time. Like, it's 61%. When is Shanghai going to try and do something?
So they're taking a lot of time, but it's completely acceptable in the situation. Oh, Creative just right-clicks him.
But Shanghai are taking a lot of time.
Was Lip discorded?
61%. When is Shanghai going to try and
So now I think what we'll actually see here is we might actually see Shanghai swing from pushing pushing the opposite side, and now they might push this side. But it's the same kind of strategy, but it does look like Lip just gets right-clicked.
I think Shanghai...
Yeah, Lip just gets right-clicked. That's just like, that's where, you know, the strategy kind of falls out the window, and that's just a prediction right-click. There's no Discord there. He just gets blown up. So, unfortunate. You know, that's like where you could be like, you know, the best team in the world, but somebody just gets a mechanical pop off and they just line that right click right up and all that work's gone. Now, the nice thing though is because the rally armor is probably fading off soon, maybe you can hold your space. Maybe you don't have to kite all the way back to spawn. I don't expect Shanghai to run away, is what I'm saying. I expect them to play very carefully, but I don't expect them to run away.
I think Seoul might actually get on 99 themselves.
I don't think Seoul can push this because, like, as long as Izayaki keeps this back door controlled, Seoul's not gonna be able to push that advantage. And they don't. You see how they back off? They back off the cover. And oh no, Fleta, where are you? How does Fleta die? This is really bad. Fleta should not be dying. Okay, so Fleta is just way too aggressive. Fleta is not matching his team's tempo at all. Uno, dos, tres. Even the ball on like Fate has backed off, right? Everybody's backed off playing within support LOS. pork chop thinking for the fall, except for Fleta, who's still playing as if like he's you know, there's 7 men up, you know, and he's not gonna get he's not gonna get. What does he get bashed? Does your Echo get bashed? Come on, Fleta. Come on, man. He's on the ground. He gets bashed. Oh, come on, Fleta. That's a feed.
Creative just gave you guys a massive leg up, and
that's really unfortunate. Well played by Shanghai as a team, but Fleta needs to. He is not on the same page.
Creative just gave you guys a massive.
And by the way, can we admire the fact that Fate got hacked and survived because he defensively positioned and played within his support LOS? Like he's gonna get tranced here, but still, like this is why I was saying like Shanghai is gonna be better about playing the angles here.
Now Animo's giving you a massive leg up. You're gonna hit 99. Soul's gonna hit 99 now. It's gonna be 99 both sides.
Oh.
Izayaki ulted as well. Creative just gave you
Izayaki is so far in. Where did he go? Does he get booped? They all kite this way. Miss the pulse bomb. They get the kill, and they push the trance advantage. So because Fleta dies, Izayaki's trance doesn't get anything done. It gets nothing done. And then they just, you know, they're down the Sombra, they're down the Echo. They just kite to the spawn, and
now everyone's just ulting. Everyone's just ulting.
Prophet overextends.
Has EMP because Lips died.
Fate's gonna touch.
Now this could be it. Touching early. This is a very early touch.
Oh, I don't know about that EMP.
Fitz has to translocate though, so Fitz can't add damage.
I don't know about that EMP. That was a bad EMP. You have no follow-up. Because even just mouse 1 is going to be click. It's not like, oh, I EMP'd you. You have no, you just instantly die now. It's not like you're EMPing a Zen. EMP, Sombra, and Ball, you're not going to win a 2v1 like that. They can't translocate away. They can't roll into you, but they can still shoot you. So that was a really, really foolish EMP from Fitz. If he had just held it here, it would have been fine.
Fitz has to translocate though, so Fitz can't add damage.
Lip gets out with 1 HP. Fleta is gonna have copy, and they C9. I mean, it was probably lost either way. Okay, so really important to note here. Oh, Lee Jae-gong never even used rally. He never got rally. Okay, so first fight. What happened first fight? I'm gonna have to go back a little bit because I cannot remember what happened first fight. Lee Jae-gong.
By the way, to be able to get like an EMP.
Oh, they lost. How does Lee Jae-gong have? Okay, so long story short, I think the main takeaway here is that Lee Jae-gong swapped the Lucio. That's why I didn't have rally. Okay, so long story short, Shanghai clearly had the better macro game plan in terms of like understanding how the composition worked and how to play it in terms of like the map control and stuff. But Seoul popped off, like Prophet just popped off. Creative gets a crucial right click at the best time for his team. It could not have been a better right click given the opportunity. Like it set up a snowball effect where Shanghai did not properly reset. Fleta staggered, and then Izayaki accidentally staggered after that, which is really, really bad. Good on Seoul to be able to push that advantage. That was really, really big from them though. So I give credit where credit is due. That and Prophet, you know, landing a couple of really crucial sticks that made these fights really, really good. And then honestly, like a little minor thing, like Lee Jae-gong going Lucio, like that really hurt because they never really built that rally that they would have needed to be able to clutch this fight out. So I'm more impressed with Shanghai's macro game plan. Not impressed by Fleta's Echo here. I think it's the wrong pick. I don't think it's the correct pick here. I don't think he's getting a lot done with that hero. Maybe he is, and we're not seeing it, but I think it would have been easier in these like messy fights and pushing Ingles to be on Tracer and less goofy stuff like, oh, you just got pushed and you got like, that's just sucky, you know.
Don't touch the point.
Okay.
Guys, 29.
Okay, so same concept here, same exact thing here. Again, like we can draw the point, like this is the point. You know, there's the initial bridge. Actually, I'm gonna get a different color here. This is the point. This is the initial bridge here, you know, and then there's the space over here, and then you know over here, and then you have the other side here, which is like the white room, right? And it's the same kind of thing here, right? Like which side do you want to control? Now, most teams are gonna be healthily challenging, or like carefully, not healthily, gonna be carefully challenging this section of the map here, and the reason for that is because you can very easily go in white room. But the problem with White Room is that its sightlines are very bad. For example, if Seoul goes this side here on bridge, right? And Shanghai goes White Room, they will be very safe in White Room. Very hard to contest. Like there are flanks and stuff, and it's sometimes hard to see, but you can be very safe. But the problem is you have terrible vision on point. terrible angles on point. In fact, really the best angle for your Zen to be is actually peeking out this way and like going outside of white room and shooting onto point this way. And that it's still really, really awkward. So it's like a very low risk, but it's a very low reward to go white room. You're in a really not in a good spot, and you often get stuck spamming here while the enemy team just caps the point and out spams you anyway. So generally most teams are going to roll out here, but you have to be cautious because obviously the big concerns for both teams is that number one, boops, ball boops are a threat, even brig boops if they go aggressively enough. And then number two, the big thing here is that between here and dojo, so if we put like dojo, that little building here, there's just this big open space. I'm going to use a different color, just ignore the Shanghai color here. There's a big open space between that bridge and the dojo. And that means it's really scary for your backline to go in there. And even if you do get it inside dojo, it's still pretty sketch. So scary for backline, very high risk, high reward, low risk, even lower reward. So most teams generally have to default here. This is a notoriously difficult map to play squishy backlines in. They use Sombra. Well, they're using Sombra because spam is slightly weaker. So in other words, Sigma's a little bit weaker, which means teams are going to be running Diva, which means when you're playing Diva, Sombra's more attractive because Sombra is going to be doing better against things like Diva than, a Tracer would, and for example. Or excuse me, not Sombra. Like a Tracer, but yeah, Sombra deals with these compositions a little bit better. Like anytime there's like a divey or style comp that plays a little bit slow but doesn't have a lot of spam damage, Sombra fits that really, really well. Because the slower the fights go, but there's not a lot of spam, Sombra does well with that. For example, if they rolled out on like an Ashe Mercy here, Sombra would crap all over that. Diva seems pretty. Diva is okay. Okay, here's the thing. Diva is good at dealing with Sombra, but Sombra and Diva synergize well. Because it's not just that Sombra is good at dealing with Diva, because she's good at dealing against most tanks. It's also that Sombra synergizes well with Diva. Because they're both mobile heroes that can follow up off of hacks. In other words, if Fitz gets a good hack, or Fitz is fighting for Ingles, Sombra can deal well with Diva. That's basically it in a nutshell. You also have to understand that this is... you could make a very good argument that Sombra would have been played in Korea if they had a Korean gauntlet. Sombra I don't know how much Korean, I didn't see much of the Korean gauntlet, but I would be surprised if we didn't see at least some Sombra in that meta. But yeah, Sombra isn't great in a Brig Zen meta. Like I said, this composition doesn't make, I don't think this is going to be very meta for very long. I'm trying to explain the logic, but I don't think this stays meta because this pokey style angle control versus these don't synergize very well because Zen generally is good at dealing with Sombra.
That's crazy.
But I might be wrong.
Dude, Animo and Creative...
Okay, so
reverse,
TP, they go again with the Echo, which I just find strange, but sure.
Dude,
they hustle across, they get the rotate. I really wish I wouldn't have to skip back 25 seconds every single time.
That's crazy.
Yeah, we did discuss that with... Sombra just counters every tank. It's just like which tanks does she synergize better with?
Dude, Animo and Creative, I'm gonna be...
So this is my concern. You can see it right here. This is why I'm concerned about the Echo pick. Yes, the Echo does more damage. Okay, fundamentally does more damage if you shoot out a wall. But the problem is that Echo against this composition has to play very conservative. There's Tracer threat, there's Winston, ball threat, Diva threat, Sombra threat, Zen threat. Okay, now she can deal with any one of these heroes individually, but all together, that's a lot of guns and hacks and booster and range threat all throwing at you. So what that means is you can't play isolated because the other thing about Echo, and maybe why Fitz is playing Sombra, is that if she's hacked, she's dead. And as Echo, it is very difficult to deal with getting hacked. Tracer, there's different ways. It's easier to interrupt hack, you have blink, you have recall, etc. So I know I am not replaying it. Feels bad. But with Echo doesn't have a lot. So Echo kind of has to play like the McCree that we reviewed earlier, where the Echo takes angles, yeah? But she has to play it really carefully, and she has to get a lot of support. And you can see the problem with that right here, because clearly what's happening is the teams are, if this is the point, and this is the left side of the map here, right? And the right side of the map. Both teams are quickly rolling out and contesting this side of the map. Contesting the side of the map, but also they're splitting off and trying to fight for point, because point is an angle in of itself, because you can hide on point, you can take angles on point, etc. But the problem is Seoul is able to send one, holy cow, I can't even get my colors right, 1, 2, 3 to point, and Shanghai is only able to send 2. Because the Echo can't split here. She can't go and help on point, because if she gets hacked, she's dead instantly. Whereas a Tracer, it's a lot harder to hack a Tracer. It's a lot harder to hack with a ball. Like, surprisingly, it's actually a little bit harder. And Echo is, if she gets one headshot, she's dead, right? Where the other ones can translocate out, they can recall out. Shift isn't as good as a recall or translocator in terms of like actually removing yourself from a fight. So what's going to happen, I expect, is Shanghai's going to probably, like, Seoul's obviously going to have to play careful over here. They're not going to win the spam war. Echo's going to bully them over here. But Seoul should win point. And why that's a bigger issue now is because it's not just that they win point, they win an angle. They win a pincer on the poor little pink circle over here. And Shanghai has to push out. They can't stay here forever. Seoul can just sit on point and hide. So I expect either Fate or Lip to either die or be removed from the fight very quickly.
Animo and Creative in the last fight gave that to you, Seoul.
Bang. Did we call it or did we call it? Do you see this? Look at Fate's HP. Instantly gone. Instantly. Now, where Shanghai has an opportunity to push their advantage is because they're playing the Echo and because they're all here. Seoul is kind of in an awkward spot here to where they need to kind of stand their ground or rotate to point. And neither one is very attractive right now. Because you can't, like, staying here, you could get booped, you could spam, they could turn the corner, yada, yada, yada. But rotating the point means you're rotating out in the open. So if Seoul can make this rotation, or they can safely stand their ground, Seoul wins this fight 100% of the time. Shanghai gets rolled. But if Shanghai, with their Echo, can go out and murder these guys, then they win. So we're going to see. Let's see which team... Because remember, it's not just about which is better, it's about which team plays to their strengths better. I don't love the Echo. But if Shanghai plays to the Echo's strengths really well, then guess what? The Echo is better than the Tracer, just by the nature of the fact that they played it better. So don't take my word for it. Let's actually see what Shanghai does.
Creative frag Lip and Animo frag Fled. If that wasn't for that...
And you see, like, this is where Shanghai wants to hit them. This is the strength of the Shanghai comp, and that's what they do.
Instantly now, so they're getting their revenge. DJ gone super low.
Oh no. So this is just a mess. You know, this is where compositional strategy just doesn't really matter that much. Massive boot. We'll talk about it in a second though.
Marv 2 with the gifted 2. That's what it is.
Okay, so basically Shanghai says, you know what, screw point. We're just going to hard push this angle. And the problem with this map is that unlike the previous map, if you're hard pushed on an angle, you have nowhere to kite to. So, you know, Seoul just had to kind of hold their ground, and as they held their ground, they died. So really, really well done on Shanghai by going, oh, we lost the angle. That's okay. We'll focus on this angle instead, and they won the angle. They won the angle, and they won it decisively. Now, Marvel gets a huge boot. That's a micro play. We don't worry about those too much. I have no idea what happened there. Maybe there was a cooldown mismanagement, whatever. You know, GG's. Okay, sorry. I had a message. So let's see what happens. Seoul has point, and that's going to start becoming relevant soon.
And we haven't had a cap yet.
There it is. Okay. So now all Seoul needs to do is Seoul just needs to chill. Seoul needs to chill. Seoul is fine. So it's going to be very difficult. Oh, no. How does he die? Because they have point control, and Shanghai's still stuck in dojo.
Get the first cap.
So they need to avoid taking damage. Fitz might have lost his translocator. Yeah, Fitz might have lost his translocator. He looks like he also gets headshot as well.
And we haven't had a cap yet.
So this is where we really regret not having a replay, because we have no idea what happened. So Fitz is here. He gets chunked right now. Bang. That looks like a right click. That looked like 2 discorded body shots. And then he dies. So maybe I don't know if he lost his translocator. Maybe they like sniped it. But that's a misplay from Fitz. He should not be dying there.
As well. Okay, this is where Lip can get a lot. This is where Lip can get a lot of extra charge.
And now, because of that, Shanghai is actually able to get pretty good sidelines here. Like, Seoul no longer has really great angles. This is a mess. This is so hard to read.
He's been targeted. Izayaki frag Creative twice. Both times Creative
So micro play, you know, Shanghai, it's every dog has his day, and they definitely look like they out microed or out target focused or out team played Seoul. Like, it's very difficult for me to see from a macro perspective what happened there. It just was a devolved fight. Shanghai was able to control and leverage Dojo, and Seoul never really set up for control around point. They never really got anything out of it. So just GG's. So if you're going to control point, you got to get something out of it. But what ended up happening is the fight ended up happening here, in which case point control doesn't really matter that much. Like, if you're controlling point, you want the fight to happen around point, where you can, like, abuse that. Like, on the previous point. Remember, Seoul had point, or Shanghai had point, and they'd all set up their angles around it, and all hide. Like, they never really got to that point there. No pun intended.
Even though he translocates.
So, this is where you have to rotate to white, because going bridge on a neutral is okay, because the enemy team's not set up yet. But if they already are set up, going bridge is just suicide. It's high risk, and it's just ridiculously high risk, high reward. It's not worth the risk, because it's the enemy Briggs Zen when on neutral is also crossing bridge, and they're not looking at you. They're running to the dojo as fast as they can, right? Well, this time they're already on the dojo. They're chewing the fat, and they're sitting back there with their 12 gauge and about to blow your head off the second you cross the bridge. They're chilled. They're safe. They're not worried about anything, right? So now it's no longer safe for you to do that, because they're only focused on you, not about moving themselves. In addition, as you walk into bridge, they can have an off angle set up on point who's shooting you as you cross out this way. So there's a lot of bad things about going bridge. Now, they're going to clear out white side. And this is where things get really important, because if we overhead look at the point, once more I'm going to do this. If we overhead look at the point, and I'm going to use colors again. If you overhead look at the point and they go white, there's like the white room here, and then there's the bridge, okay? Now, this is where it gets interesting, because Shanghai has angles, here and here and here, and what actually Seoul needs to do is they will put pressure on main. But remember, chat, they're not going to be able to win by this. This isn't going to win, at least not likely to win. Maybe if you get a right click, maybe get lucky, whatever. But what's actually going to happen is Seoul's going to use this setup, like this anchor base, like central hub, like central command, mothership, to branch out and control, fight for the bridge this side or fight for the bridge on this side. And they're going to use their Zenyatta, Brig, whatever LOS support to try and fight for that. So you might see Fleta sneak around outside a point like this. You might see Ball and Tracer roll out, or Brawl and Sombra roll out in this way. But they're going to try and bully Shanghai out to move this way or this way. And then they can put leverage on point. I'm glad you found it helpful, Abstract. I think the Echo is more about it's good on angles if you can shoot tanks. But Tracer feels like it's better in these more open maps. I honestly, like, Echo and Tracer are both flankers. They can both clear out flanks. Echo is just better at, like, more enclosed maps where she can abuse high ground. And neither of these maps has really oppressive high ground, which is why I've been kind of confused at the pick. To me, this feels like just a hero, like a comfort pick for me. Because Prophet is clearly the better Tracer. So I hope, like, I was not impressed with how Seoul played their macro perspective on the previous point. I think they put way too much emphasis on main, and they only won through hero plays. So let's hope that they don't do this here, that they actually don't just push main, but that they actually understand that go through white and then send flankers this way, or go white and then send flankers this way, because that's how you're gonna win this fight. So we'll see. Or maybe they'll just do bad macro again, and then they just win because hero plays.
What we expected out of lip. Okay.
So when is Shanghai going to hit them? Are they going to play it slow? Are they just going to force them to make a play and just play around point? Or are they going to leverage their EMP advantage, which they may or may not have? Okay, so this is crucial. Chat, this is how you win the point. You do not win by killing Zen. You do not win by killing Brig. You win your retake by abusing angles. Fate is way too deep, and he's completely isolated. Another symptom of running Echo over Tracer, because Echo cannot guard your ball. The reason why these synergize together so well is they can all help each other. They're all very mobile. They can interrupt hacks. They can kill spammers. They can kill enemy balls. Echo cannot. Echo cannot play this far away from her team. She's on a leash always, like a McCree, right? She's on a leash, at least versus this composition. So this means that Fate goes extremely aggressive, but he does not have a Sombra, nor does he have a Tracer with him. And this means he's feeding. He shouldn't do this. This is not playing to the strength of your composition. So what I expect Seoul to do is then kill Fate. And then what Seoul can do now is, do you remember before we said you have to get a kill and then do your homework and clear out the angle? Well, guess what? Seoul doesn't have to do their homework because they have Rally. Seoul can kill the ball, walk on a point with Rally. They will not want to EMP that, and then they can win the fight off of that. You'll probably force Izayaki to trance, or they'll give up the point entirely.
Dive, by the way.
So he should die.
That's a big manual on
That's a big mistake by Fate. Big mistake by Fate, and it demonstrates the weakness of this little the Shanghai composition very clearly. And there's the Rally. I'm telling you, it's like reading a book. It's like reading a book. It's a very simple concept. It's you fight for that angle, so now you can press W and you don't have to worry about Fate killing you. So what I expect Shanghai to do is they'll probably try and stall point, and then they'll try and mirror Rally. I would be surprised if we see EMP. So now Seoul's in a position to where they might be looking for EMP, but they're probably content with just clearing points. So we're going to either see one of these two ults get value, and potentially this ult being used, but they're going to need to build it first.
Yeah, you don't want to try and EMP what? You want to EMP the actual point itself. You're losing a lot of time here.
Yeah, see, they don't even try and stall. This is actually oh no, Shanghai. This is a huge mistake. Huge mistake. I cannot understate how bad this is for Shanghai here. What do you guys see?
Lip's got to respond. Look.
Overlapping support ults, but not just overlapping support ultimates. What else has happened?
Point itself, you're losing.
Oh, they pulse spawn. Profit with a hero play. Chat. It's not just overlapping support ultimates. This is not just a Shanghai mistake, because Shanghai, first off, they should not have given up point. If you're going to commit a support ultimate, you needed to stall. You needed your diva to like do a drive-by, you know what I'm saying, or something. Obviously, there's a risk of hack, but I think it's worth it. You know, you need to really not give up point if at all possible. But you use both support ults and you gave up point. But what do you guys see? I guarantee you, Izayaki was stuck or close to being stuck, and that's why he tranced. Because obviously, Rally's not gonna help pull spawn. So Profit's just another fight where Profit either indirectly or directly just wins the fight. So great hack, manual hack from Fitz. Good scouting. Great pull spawn from Profit. I mean, they're going to win this because there's no way. The only way that Shanghai can win this is if they get a monstrous EMP and Fleta gets good follow-up. So what we might see here is we might see Lip. Shanghai might try and overcommit this fight. They might try and go in and EMP and get follow-up. If Seoul survives this follow-up, Shanghai is screwed. Like, Shanghai is going to lose the map.
A lot of time here.
So the double overlapping support.
This looks like it.
Here comes, yeah, and as predicted. Oh, he tries to bait it. But Creative doesn't have trance. He doesn't have trance, so he tries to bait out trance, but he doesn't have trance. So unlucky, but again, the good things continue to stack for Seoul. It just gets better and better and better. Because now, Lip is out of the fight, and you've just given more time to Creative to build trance, so that when you actually EMP, he's going to be ready. I'm not going to give a lot of thought on what I think would be a better comp, because that's not really my specialty, and I honestly don't think that anybody's good at that. I think just raw testing is ultimate in scrims is what leads to it. But I like the Sombra Tracer. I don't love the Sombra Tracer with Briggs Zen. okay, let me put it this way. I think this is a good comp. I think there's a better way to play this comp in terms of like hero picks or something. There's got to be a better way. Like, this is a weird matchup. Like, this is not something we usually see, right? But I like this comp better than the Echo. I don't think because remember, the whole point is controlling angles and flank control, and I think Echo is not as good as Tracer at that. Yeah, Creative didn't get baited. He smashed the Q and said, wait, I don't have trance. I'm a big brain.
No, he baited out. DJ gone.
And this is just atrocious. Like, Fleta has to pop here.
Fitz has gone in.
But he's not going to.
Hacked by the EMP. Flitter's already put the
Like, look at Shanghai's ult bank. They have 1, 2 ultimates, and maybe 3, and we still have Trance on the table. Wait, there's an EMP? Wait, who EMP'd? Fitz?
Has popped the rally.
Fitz?
Animo's already popped
Hello?
the rally. Fitz has gone in. Lip has been
Really
hacked.
questionable EMP. There's very little follow-up on
It's
this.
gonna happen. No, he baited. He baited out. He baited. DJ gone. Has popped the rally. Already.
So, really unfortunate timing. Actually, so this is a big play from Fleta. So Fleta is going to be using his ultimate at the same time as Fitz commits EMP, and this means that there is no follow-up on this EMP. He gets a decent EMP. He gets 1, 2, 3 in terms of numbers hacked. Like, that's 3-man EMP is fine. But Seoul is in no position to push because backline's getting pressured. And obviously, Fleta uses copy. So definitely, again, it's as these fights go on, these kind of mistakes really hurt you. They really, really, really hurt you. So we don't like to see it.
Animo's already popped the rally. Fitz has gone in. Lip has been hacked. Lip got hacked by the EMP.
That being said, Seoul does still have point control.
Already put the mines out. I think here we go. This is the real one. No, he's still not doing it.
There's the hack. There's the EMP.
Okay. So
Trance. Hello. There's the trance. They get the mech, but Seoul still has point control.
He quite often will just EMP 1 or 2 people.
And Izyaki's dead. This should be GG's for Shanghai. They should lose this.
What does Sombra Tracer offer over Sombra Echo, vice versa?
Even with all this goofiness going on, it should still be. You have a Zen alive, it's over.
Sombra Echo's not quite as common. I feel like Echo is you either see Echo.
So Fitz's EMP really, really almost scuffed up Shanghai. Now, it did mean that Shanghai was not able to push off of Fleta pushing, but I think Fleta's push is a lot less scary than EMP. And I don't even think that Shanghai would have been able to follow up off of Fleta very much because they're scared of EMP. So I would have liked Fitz to have been timing his EMP. I mean, we saw it earlier at the end of the first point where he kind of solo EMPs the ball Sombra, but there's like no follow-up there. So I'm not really happy with that EMP at all. Would have been a lot better if he would just like chilled on point and EMP'd whatever came. That would have been better. Or even heck, just played a counter EMP. Played a solo EMP the Sombra again or whatever. But that wasn't great. You know, so Shanghai's in serious trouble. Serious trouble. They might not get another EMP with us before this round's over. Fitz probably will. Potentially it'll be close. But the big thing on the table here is like this versus this. And the concern that Li Jaegong, like last round, will not be able to build up a rally before the fight is over. And without a rally, you are going to have a really hard time getting through this choke. And not to mention, there's a slight advantage with Pulse Bomb, Diva Bomb, and the mines, it's going to be close, but that's not really a tool that you can just exploit immediately. Okay. Meta predictions are pointless? I don't think meta predictions are pointless. I think it's a guideline, but it always stems away from that. Yeah, like, well, they're good at farming EMP, but part of what Fitz has done is Fitz is also, like, Fitz EMP timing was poor, but it did kind of pay off a little bit in the fact that he was able to build up more EMP charge because he EMP'd early. You know what I'm saying? It's like a trade-off. Fitz almost gets one-shot there. Holy cow.
Not as common. I feel like Tracer just does too
By the way,
much
chat, can we admire... Do you see what Shanghai's doing?
Like Sombra Tracer.
Shanghai has somebody over here. So how is Shanghai going to rotate?
Does too much in the backline. Tracer's backline pressures way too much. Like
Ooh, profit.
Anyway,
So yeah, Shanghai's rotating white. And again, we're going to see Shanghai... Hey, kitty. We're going to see Shanghai go white. And then I especially expect Shanghai, because they seem to have a better understanding of like map and positional fundamentals. We're going to see Shanghai like rotate back on their main and get control here. So they're going to like try and control here or control the opposite side. They're not just going to AFK in white. They're going to AFK in white and branch out those octopus arms. Like, I'm going to kind of use that term to like talk about flank control. Kitty is on the lap. Hello, kitty. All right, so let's see what happens with Shanghai. What angle are they going to see? Is Seoul going to feed? Because remember, Fate fed last time on that flank, and that let Seoul win the fight. So let's see what happens here. Hey, careful. That's my laptop. You can't step on that. All right. Ooh, I'm running out of mouse room. Oh, here, hang on. I'm going to move. Give me a second. Chat. My cat is very adamant that she wants to sit next to me, but there's not enough room. There you go. Okay. Hi. All right, let's see what happens.
Okay, this time Fitz is definitely is keeping up.
Marvel spy checking.
95. Soul, you might win map 1. Soul might got map 1.
Oh no, Fate.
Okay, this time Fitz is definitely is keeping up.
Okay, so let's watch what happens here. Fate is on our right.
Soul, you might win.
Right here, he's hacked. So where is he hacked? Okay, so he's hacked here. So yeah, I mean, this to me, this is you know, obviously unfortunate. But Shanghai should be able to support him here. Like maybe they're focused too much on touching, but like remember, Shanghai's not going to win by winning in White Room. They're going to win by helping Fate out and punishing whoever's like punishing him. Because if they could keep him up during this, then they're going to be able to push the bridge because you know Soul's going to have to leave. But obviously there's the concern of, oh, we have to touch points, so there's probably some confusion there. But again, I'm going to say it again and again and again. Hey, Stalker. I'm really just not pleased with the Echo choice. Like, Echo can't contribute with this much at all. Like, this is where, again, Fate just has no escort, so they're struggling as a result.
This could be a map 1.
And that's game. Like, that's game right there. Because you're walking into a concave. Animo now has a free rally. And the big thing here is because Soul killed Fate, what can Soul now do? Chat, what can Soul now do now that they've killed Fate? They've won the angle.
This could be a map 1.
What do they have a clear path line to? Come on, guys. What do they have a clear? They've won the flank. They've won the angle. What can they now do? Uh-huh. You've won the flank. You've won the angle. Now you can dive. Now you go dive backline. And especially because I don't know if Li Zhegong is going to build rally in time. It's GG's. Should be GG's.
Fate's down again. Fate, I think, did he get hacked there? Fate's down again. Li Zhegong's ulting now. Lip is too far away. Prophet doesn't hit with a pulse bomb. Animo's got the rally as well. Creative and Izaki both quite
they get the rally though.
Contesting. By the way, 2U still got a knock. 2U can still reset this fight really quickly. Prophet takes DJ Gon down. Izaki doesn't save him.
EMP, yeah.
Lip's got to go. Fitz has gone in.
Counter EMP doesn't matter though. The trance is already there. That should be GG's. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, Soul was playing the better comp. And Shanghai really scuffed on first round. They got out mechanics. Dado W, one thing with the fall. And then on second point, I mean, Shanghai didn't play first fight terribly. I think they played it okay. You know, the retakes even, it was just bad comp. Fate feeding on the Soul's first retake. And then, you know, Prophet sticks Zen and forces double support ultimate. And they still lose point. So, Soul, in a way, is winning through these mechanical plays of Prophet, either directly and indirectly, and Shanghai is just kind of giving them kills. Like, Fate died first fight twice in a row because he had no help on their retake and then on the enemy team's retake. Like, it just can't happen. Like, that can't happen. So I think it's a big compositional difference, and then there was a mechanical diff as well. But I don't think Shanghai is bad. I think Shanghai played first round better from a macro standpoint. And then even like the double support ultimate felt almost unlucky. Like, that really sucks. You're 98% on rally, so you rally late. And then that kind of like sets up an easy pulse bomb, right? Like, that's rough. Okay, so Seoul definitely deserved to win that one. Maybe not first round, but second round they definitely deserve the win. Let's see what happens here. Do you guys have any questions so far? This is a little dry. It's a little dry, but I'm having fun. We'll pause for just a second. Pause for just a wee second. Do you guys have any questions so far? Compositional matchup, etc., 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 etc. Not dry. Very good. Okay, good. I'm actually getting a phone call. Give me a second, chat. I think it's a phone call. Oh, it's a text message. Do you guys remember text messages? You remember when text messaging was actually a thing? Not dry, very good. Thank you. Sounds like my mama's steak. It's kind of a... What's the job of ball in these comms? The job of ball in these comms is to like clear out flanks and angles and then look for dives in the backline. And the reason that you play ball over something like monkey is because ball has better poke damage than monkey, so he can like clear out those angles a little bit easier. Like the sombras and tracers, you can like shoot them a little bit. And also he stages quickly. He doesn't take as much damage as monkey. And he can like hide his head hitbox. So like you kind of saw on the edge like how the balls and tracers were fighting on the flanks. A monkey there wouldn't be able to do anything. He can't reach Sombra Tracer. He'd be like, come over here, guys, and then he'd just get poked out. So he would really struggle with that. If this comp is so much better at diving than Echo one, was Echo played in Contenders? Because the Echo one was played with Sigma, and it was about controlling flanks, but it had a lot more damage. In other words, the comp was less about diving in Contenders and more about map control and spam. The one, I'm not going to, obviously I have the wrong scene up, but the comp we saw was dive, just dive. It had Zen, a little bit of Zen spam, but it was dive, right? In Contenders with the Sigma Ashe and the Mercy in the Echo, it was about angles and flanks and spamming out those angles and flanks. You still fought for angles and flanks with your ball tracer, but you were spamming while you did it. And that's why Echo was good there. Like you were spamming shields, you're spamming this, you weren't all up in the grill. Yeah, because here's the thing, against really heavy spam comps, Sombra is good to help your team dive if you can, but but she struggles to get damage done because Sombra, unlike Tracer, when she gets shot, she has to leave. She has to reset all the way. So her cycles, are like this, whereas Tracer, consistent, Echo, consistent. Whereas if you look at this composition, the only person that can force your translocator is a Zenyatta right-clicking you. That's it. Sombra, Tracer, Ball, Diva, not a lot of spam. And the reason why you're like, well, then why wouldn't teams just play Ashe? Wouldn't that stop them from playing Sombra? Maybe, but because we've seen some of the spam heroes get nerfed, those heroes are harder to punish tanks at going. Like, you might also be seeing teams playing Sombra before she's necessarily the best team, partially because they know Sombra is going to be better down the road. They know these deep, like we've seen the experimental patch, we know those heroes are getting nerfed some more. So they're already kind of ahead of time. And again, I'll say it one more time, but I do not want to understate the power of hero player strengths. If Echo is a really good hero, even at the Overwatch League level, if you are an amazing Echo, you will find a way to make it work. Obviously meta matters, but player strengths matter too. So maybe Fleta, and again, I am critical of the Echo because I have not seen good play from the Echo. I've not seen good value from the Echo, but maybe there's a niche way of playing Echo in this meta that works really well, even if the enemy team is playing a Ball, Diva, Sombra. But I have not seen it yet. Why is Sombra good against heavy spam comps? I'm not saying she is. I'm saying she's actually kind of bad against heavy spam comps, unless you're playing a really hard dive where she can just go into the backline. Because the problem with heavy spam comps is Sombra gets her translocator forced very quickly. Sombra wants to kind of sit and shoot and angle, but she can't do that if she's going to get her head blown off. She does no damage at range basically at all. Like, it'd be like trying to play Sombra versus McCree or Ashe. You're just going to get outspammed unless you can dive them, but then if you're hard diving Brig, Zen, Diva, you're going to have a hard time. And for Brig, is the majority of her focus just shielding squishes like Zen until close? Brig's job is to try and deny the enemy Sombra. Like, Brig's job is just to exist and not die. Like, her job is to her job is to exist and not die, to proc Inspire. And remember, the enemy team can't dive your backline until your Sombra, Tracer, Ball lose the flank. So your job as Brig is to, with your armor packs, with your Inspire, to support the flank so that your Zen never gets dove. At the pro level anyway. Because pros aren't going to just rush in and dive you. They're going to try and clear out a flank, and then they're going to dive you. So your job is to support that flank so that you never even have to worry about landing a whip shot in a ball or bashing a tracer. Right? Now, you're going to get to that point eventually, but that's the goal, is to try and prolong that as long as you can. Strange background noise for anybody else? Yes, it's an air filter. I'm actually going to turn it down a notch. Meta prediction? No idea. Because as things go with meta, if metas are driven by heroes. So if we look at this meta right now, this meta is a Ball Tracer driven meta. If you nerf Ball Tracer, you're not going to see, the entire composition falls apart. Like, if you look at this right here, Is Sombra like... Is Sombra... Okay, so Sombra's, I would say, is annoying and maybe slightly OP, but Sombra's not, like, busted. Like, oh, she's crazy strong. And even Brig is not crazy strong, and certainly not D.Va. But these heroes dictate the meta. And because you cannot play Sigma, in case you can't do this, well, then these heroes become more attractive. Even if D.Va had a 100% pick rate in the next Overwatch League meta, I would not say that she's completely wildly busted. She just fits well with the meta. So if you nerf Ball Tracer, then stuff might happen. So when you ask me what the prediction for the next meta is, I have to go, okay, well, Echo's not as strong. Who benefits from that? Who are the strongest heroes right now? And then construct a composition from that. And that's just a lot of steps. How do you get coach? Exclamation mark coaching. Yeah, you're welcome. Sorry about the chatter. Alrighty. So we're going to the next map. I'm going to quickly, like, I know you guys are probably tired of seeing this, but like quickly break down like what we're going to see here. Like Volskaya, this is the main choke here. Or actually, I'm going to draw a little small choke. You know, there's like a little truck here, and then you can go around like the buildings here, right? And then there's the building like here, and then I'm running out of mouse room. And then there's the building over here, and then there's like the backline here. So like what you're probably going to see is, I don't remember who's attacking, so I'm not going to really pay attention, is the attacking team is going to like stand at choke and spam a little bit and force the enemy team to back up a little bit. So you don't just want to rotate, because maybe they can kill you, like they have angles on this rotate. So you force these guys, the people that have angles on this rotate, you spam them until they back away. And when they back away, now they don't have good angles on you anymore. So that allows you to either rotate this way or allows you to rotate this way. And then eventually your job is to try and make your way around the map, either left or right, so that you clear out one of these angles. Because if you go down just main, you're gonna get spammed from opposite high grounds. Because remember, chat, the thing is it's not just about the dive threat, it's about the spam threat as well. Because the Zenyatta that's shooting you from this way while you're sitting on the low ground is way scarier than if you just went around, made the Zenyatta run away, and now he's in front of you. It's way less scary. So what we expect from Shanghai is they're going to try and either go left or right and not main. They're going to clear out and try and fight for an angle and try and fight for high ground control in some way, shape, or form. Now, somebody might get picked before we even get there, and that's often how these fights go, is you never really get to the perfect moment, but that's what the teams are going to be fighting for, to stop them from rotating, to stop them from clearing out angles, and to try and be pushing for your own. Rotate left is good. I mean, they both have their strengths and weaknesses. Rotate left is, rotate left is slightly easier initially because you have that big room to be safe in, but it does mean you have to rotate twice because remember, it's the choke here, and then there's the building here, but then you also have to rotate from here to the next room, and there's that little stretch of open space here. So you have to rotate twice, right? From here to here, and then here to here. And then this high ground is big and open, which isn't great, but it's something, right? With the other one, it's like that initial rotate, it feels a little worse because there's like open space and here you can get spammed. And then even when you're walking out there, remember the windows you have to walk through? That's not great either. But this side has a little bit better corners and you can get mega control. So you can like put backline in that little mega room and that's really, really, really safe. So yeah. All right, let's see here. Sabi Olby is in. Who was on Tracer last time? Who was on Tracer last time?
This is out of the fight. This is where Lip can really take over.
It's a profit. Okay, so Sabi Olby. So I assume this is, hey, we're going to be one-tricking Tracer. Wait, no, I'm looking at the wrong team. Wait, no, I am. I'm so confused. Okay, dragons are blue now. I'm sorry, that completely threw me off. Wait, now both teams are dragons. Blue is dragons and red is dragons. I don't know anymore. What team is Sabi Olby on? Fitz is on the team with Sabi Olby. What team is Fitz on? I'm so confused. Fitz is Seoul Dynasty. Seoul Dynasty. Sabi Olby is on Seoul Dynasty. This is rough. So Sabi Olby on Seoul Dynasty. Okay. I don't know. I mean, I guess they want, like, I don't know why you put Sabi Olby in, honestly. I feel like Prophet's a better Tracer, but, you know, maybe not. I don't know. Maybe he's like, maybe they want, like, maybe there's a communicational issue. Like, they think his, like, rotational call is going to be, like, really important here, or, like, his leadership. I don't know. Like, who knows what. I mean, Sabi Olby got really famous for doing just what we're talking about right now. Sabi Olby got really famous for being really good at mirroring enemy tracers and denying them the angle or denying them the flank, which would let Jonak basically never be dove because he never had a tracer on him because Sabioli was always chasing the enemy tracer. Like, remember that when that was like a big thing, people were like, "Whoa, that's so cool!" You know, that's Overwatch. That's controlling the angle. Sabioli would just control the angle, and Jonak would just pop off. All right, so again, the Sombra Echo stuff, I don't love it. Like, I don't even think this is a particularly great map for Echo. Maybe second point will go better, but first point, I don't know. But Seoul Dynasty, not Shanghai, is on red now, so let's keep that in mind. So let's see how we rotate here. Maybe Flood slams chokes. Maybe Flood is gonna find a way to prove me wrong.
Okay, by the way, both teams for some reason Shanghai Dragons. The red team is Seoul. For some reason.
So yeah, so they're gonna do this rotate here.
They messed up the graphic. Whatever. Can redeem.
Seoul's gonna try and punish this, or gonna try and survive this rotate as best they can. Shanghai's gonna try and punish it. Now this is really big.
Okay, guys, I figured out.
So like, do you notice how like when they rotated, they didn't rotate their full team? Like Briggs Zen did not rotate through because they would die in the rotate. It's not safe enough. But it is safe enough for a Sombra and a Tracer and a ball to rotate. So what they do is they send their Sombra Tracer ball through, and then they let them set up over here, and then they poke out the enemy team. You see what I'm saying? It's like sitting out one of your octopus arms, and you repeatedly jab your opponent in the back of the head. And that's enough of distractions that you yourself can slip around, you know? So you can't get the big part of your meat through, but you can get a little part of your meat around, and then that eventually will allow you to get a big part of your meat around. But it's like a step-by-step process. And hopefully Marvel doesn't get pushed, but they're not really in a good position to push Marvel. You see how like the Sombra's poking out and the ball is poking out? And now the Briggs Zen rotate. So now we're successful. Okay? Now the problem obviously is that you have to rotate again. And that's the real awkward part.
That's the difference.
Again here, they're not rushing the rotate. They're making sure that we're keeping Shanghai at a distance. There's a big hack on Lip. Oh my gosh. So where's Lip positioned? So Lip gets caught over here. I don't know what happens, but you can see again, like fights are not won and lost. Like, you know, Void's not getting blown up, or, Li Gong gets right-clicked. It's literally just whatever heck is happening off screen, way off to the side. That's what actually matters. Because not only is this a kill, the kill means that, hey, now Fitz can run around and go kill backline. Because especially because they don't have a Tracer, there is no flank pressure at all. It's literally just Fate. And Fate cannot block the flank by himself. So Shanghai or Seoul needs to go really aggressive on the flank here, get some backline pressure, look for a dive, maybe clear out ball first. But Shanghai is not in a good spot here.
Lip's on 60%. Okay, now we're back onto regular Lip
game. A lot of ult charge farm though for Lip.
So 2U's fragged him pretty quick.
Okay, stage, go clear ball.
I can't. What was the pulse bomb, Choco? I don't even remember that. You're gonna have to
yeah, see, this is bad.
I don't remember what that was.
So this is my problem.
What do we got here?
So this is a really big problem. Chat, do you kind of see what the problem is? Where is Seoul set up here? So keep in mind Seoul is red. Where is Seoul set up here? If you were to draw a line, they've just got a kill. Keep that in mind. Where is Seoul position here? Do you see this? They've got a little flank control here, but do you see how Seoul rotated this way, okay? And they kill Lip, and Lip is dead. Yeah, there's a dead person, okay? And they just kind of stay here. They just kind of chill. They immediately, well, the first thing, the backline immediately drops to point. And they just start putting point pressure. When they should have and could have deepened, kept going this way. Set up your Sombra on high ground behind, make Fleta get out of the air and make him go back to his backline. They just kind of sit here. Yeah, they just stack. They all kind of clump. It's like, it's like getting an advantage off of the enemy, and then just instead of pushing your advantage, you don't want to feed, you want to play cautious, but you want to keep pushing in the smart way. You don't want to reset. You're resetting here. Even Fitz, right now I see no red over here at all, and that's concerning. You did such a good job. Sorry guys, I have to plug up my computer now. It's my laptop's almost dead. Actually, I'm gonna use my phone. I'm gonna use my phone. You've earned so much space and got a kill and everything, and then you just give up. This wouldn't be acceptable if you were even. This is even more unacceptable because you're up one. You have all the reasoning in the world to not do this, and instead they just all kind of clump on main. And now, and you can kind of like, I know a lot of what I talk about is a little complicated and a little hard to understand, but I think this is like a good example of what you can see. Like if you look at this right now, like how is Shanghai, or how is Seoul, excuse me, gonna like pressure Zen break here? How are they gonna pressure Fleta? They can shoot Diva a little bit, but that's really about it. You see how they can all like, they can just all tuck in this room here and, you know, give a couple ticks and there's nothing they can do. And the problem here with not controlling this high ground is, yeah, maybe you can't go inside. Okay, sure, understandable, have a nice day. But what you can do is you can set up so that when they do push out to contest point, they die. For example, if you had Fitz up here instead of here, as they walk out, Fitz gets a hack and they die. Or even down here, right? Or Trace over here, or, you know, Ball over here. But as they walk on to point to contest point, they get shot and hacked from multiple different angles. And they can't do anything about it because Zenberg can't see them. So this is a problem. I do not like how Seoul is pushing their advantage here at all. Big DMAC, that's big. But it was more of along the, felt more like, you know, Void messed up rather than, like you could see it right here. Why is Fleta allowed to play here? How on earth is Flood allowed to play here? They have no flank control. They're down their Diva, they're down their Sombra, and why am I only seeing red here? What is going on? Hello? There's a big kill in Marvel. Where's Marvel? Marvel is Marvel's going in. He's frontlining. Like he's frontlining. Marvel. No, that's not how you play ball. You don't just walk into the front line. You angle. Marvel. No, son. And now Marvel. They overextend, and Fleta, who's been completely uncontested on this angle because everybody's playing. You know, like you're literally like playing. It's like shooting fish in a barrel for Fleta. Like, no wonder Fleta's finding value out of Echo, because nobody's contesting him at all. This is just bad from Seoul, guys. Like, I'm not going to sugarcoat this. This is trash heap gameplay in terms of macro. Like, this is just demonstrating a lack of understanding of how to play this composition. Like, just even how Overwatch works. Like, you have an advantage. You have all the space in the world on the flank, and instead you turtle on main and just stick your fat, ugly faces here and let Fleta literally, like, look at Fleta. 90% ult charge. Who is he supposed to, like, how is he getting that much ult charge against this mobile of a comp? It's just bad gameplay. It's just bad. There's just no nice way of sugarcoating it. It's just poor. Like, Fleta is completely on, and again, can we admire, how does Shanghai lose this, or Seoul lose this? They lose this because, you know, Marvel front lines instead of dealing with a flank, and Fleta lives on the flank for forever and never gets bullied. If Fleta was bullied and had to play in here, Shanghai or Seoul would be taking no damage. No damage. And they just cap. I don't get it. This is just really poor macro gameplay from Seoul. This is the same crap we saw in first round Night Market. Oh, by the way, chat, fun little secret. You know what I'm going to be doing when Overwatch League season is live? I'm going to be doing stuff like this where I watch an Overwatch League game live, and we're going to be compiling video footage or notes on how to beat teams. In other words, if I were coaching a team on how to beat Seoul, I'd be abusing this. Guys play angles heavily. These guys do not know how to push flanks, or so-and-so feeds a lot, or their translocator placement's bad. We're going to compile it, and we're going to make those videos live. So we're going to be roasting some of these Overwatch League teams. And, you know, whoever, whatever, if the enemy team wants to use the footage, you know, if they want to use the secrets, let them go for it. Now, we're not going to be picking favorites. We're going to be treating everybody equally unfair, but, you know. Zekroom, thank you for the follow, mate. Hang on, Chad, I got to feed my cat. Give me a second. Hey, you want to eat? Come here. Come here. Alright, chat, sorry. We'll come right back. But yeah, that should be fun. We're gonna try and see if we can roast some of these Overwatch League teams and see what they're scuffed up about them. Hopefully nobody gets too mad at me for doing that. But yeah, whatever. They could have hired me, right, chat? Okay, so Seoul's in a really good position to get full health here. That was a very, very winnable fight, and all you've done at this point is let Lip farm up EMP. They're, you know, you have no ult advantage whatsoever, and you've done nothing but get a tick and a half. So, not good.
Seeing our teams play without a team color spectator clan is super cursed. It's weird. It's different. I gotta fix the HUD though.
Okay, again the rotate, the long rotate, and this is the tricky thing about 2CP as well. Is if you lose a fight on a point like this, you have to start all over again with the rotates. You have to start, because remember it's like a 3-step rotate. You rotate your DPS, they poke the enemy team out who's holding close, they back off, then your backline rotates, and then your backline has to rotate again, and then you get a set up. So it's like, it takes like a full, like you saw last time, it was like a good 30-40 seconds just to even rotate. And so now, you know, you might not get more than 2 or 3 fights.
So Lip dies and he's still gonna EMP quicker. Is this gonna be manual? Just manual Marvel.
Ooh, nice reaction. Nice reaction. All right, so like I'm gonna get a good overhead snapshot here, because looks like this is a really not a great place for a manual hack, because even if he does get the manual hack, he's very close to his team. There's a lot of support here, and there's no backline LOS here, so they can't follow. His Zen Brig can't follow up here. Now you don't always need Zen Brig follow up, but number one, you either need your Zen Brig be able to follow up on a hack, or you need their Zen Brig not able to follow up on a hack, if that makes sense. It needs to be either one or the other. Either they can't follow up to help, or your team can follow up. And right now, this one doesn't do either. This is a nice manual, like a good cancel from Marvel, but even if he gets hacked here, he's in no risk at all. Animo, Creative, they're all right here. They're going to be safe on the rotate, and your Zen Brig can't see. So this is a mistake from them. This is a mistake. Because the worst thing that can happen here is that he gets picked. Even best thing that can happen here, he gets a hack, nobody dies. He gets, you know, he's going to get forced out right now. Restart, you know, reset. He's not scouting. He's not doing anything right now. And Seoul 100% gets a safe rotate. Are these multi-stage rotations necessary for comps such as 6-man dive rush? Yes, they are. They are, because if you play 6-man dive rush, Reaper comp, whatever, you can still get dove and rotate. You still get punished on rotate, even though your Moira Lucio don't die. You burn a lot of resources. Although I will say they're a lot easier with those comps, and you can do them a lot faster. In other words, you have to do this, then you do this, but instead of 30-40 seconds, and you maybe die if you mess up, they'll take like 15-20 seconds, and worst case scenario, you just have to use your amp speed. Like you don't lose a lot. You still have to rotate. You can't just go down main, but it's a lot faster, and they're a lot safer rotates. That is one nice thing about the faster paced metas. Although in general, in faster paced metas, instead of like, they might actually like hold you at the choke. So maybe you don't even rotate at all, maybe just fight. But yeah, it is generally, the rotates are easier with speed, for sure. Ooh boy, that's sketch. That's sketch. I have no idea what Fitz was doing over there. He's there earlier though.
I think that would be a really strong ult if you duplicate the tracer.
Okay, so this is really just questionable, man. Like, do you guys see, do you see what I see, or do you see what I don't see? Like, Seoul's managed the rotate, but they're not, they've controlled this flank here. They might, well no, they don't even control this flank. Lip is over here. But what Fitz really needs to do is they need to swing out to this right side and like play near Hut and then Mine's Point. And if they control Hut side, so like again, if we draw choke, blah, 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 draw choke, right? There's building here, building here, building here, you know, and here's point, right? Here's point right here. We'll just, what Shanghai needs to do, or Seoul needs to do, being red now, is they've rotated here, they've rotated here. If they want to double back and push your point from here, they need to control Hut right here, this little spot right here. If they control this spot right here, as they put pressure on point, anything from Shanghai that pushes out or contests this is going to get hacked and killed, right? Or shot and killed, right? You see what I'm saying? So they need to not just control this little section here, but they really need the control of this whole section here. Like this whole section needs to be controlled, right? You're outside of the Briggs and LOS from inside here. They can't shoot you over here. And anything that like walks in an angle from this direction. Oh shoot, wrong color. This direction and this direction. You either do that, or probably what I would prefer slightly is you continue to rotate and you control this side of the map. Now the reason I like this side better is I think it's more like the high ground is a little bit more value than bunker. In other words, I think this is a little bit more valuable, and I think because they're on echo, I don't think they can really stop you from chasing them away. Like they just don't have the flanker pressure to be able to control it. I think echo would have to run away. So you either need to control here or control here, right? And right now it seems like they're kind of not really controlling here. Because if you look here, like where's the angle here? Where's the angle? They're stacked with the brig. He's back stacked with his in. Ball's going in, but where's Tracer? Where's Sabioli? Where's Lip? Where's Fitz? You see this? I think that's the entire enemy Seoul Dynasty, except for maybe one of the flankers. Where's the punish on Lip? Where's the pressure on Lip? Meanwhile, Shanghai has an angle here. They have an angle here. And they're going to even have an angle here from ball going in. You've rotated and you've got no advantage for yourself. You've done nothing. You've essentially set up your backline in an okay position, and that's all you got out of it. Yeah, so there's one flanker over here. That's not enough. And Marvel's getting nuked for it, too. Like, you put mines in point, but, like, what does it matter? It doesn't do anything. Fate feeds. Fate doesn't need to do anything. Oh, Fate, yeah, Fate just feeds. Fate just tries to 1v1 a div at point blank range while being discorded. That's just stupid. Yeah, and see, this right now. Oh, jeez, guys. Like, this isn't an angle. That's not an angle. Good trance. It's a great trance. And meanwhile, Fleta is literally just murdering them. Oh, boy. That's scary. Okay, but do you see how, like, how free Fleta is? Like, Fleta is literally just pressing mouse 1 here. He's literally just pressing mouse 1. And nobody's touching him. Nobody's even trying to contest him. The only thing that your Echo can do here is press mouse 1. Your utility, your mobility, it's worthless because his composition is so much better than you, but it doesn't matter because they're just going to stand and choke you. Like, this entire game, or map, rather, we've seen this and this, and a little bit of this, and meanwhile Seoul, who will color blue this time, has done this. That's it. The entire game, and there's been, like, look at this. Like, you can't hide in here when Flood is in high ground. There you go. Like, another reason why Angle is strong. He's hiding in here, but Fleta can still shoot him. Until you get rid of Fleta, he can still shoot you. Yeah, Fleta is playing aim labs. That's literally it. He's just pressing mouse 1. That's actually a pretty big bomb, man. There's no follow-up on that EMP at all. Big trance. He greets the trance. And hey, look at that. Let's see what happens in this Deval fight. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, so now we can kind of pause right here. Again, do you see Seoul Dynasty? All in a clump. And again, like, even if they were to double back here and control this angle like I've been wanting them to, this is still the worst part of the map to control. Like, this is not good part of the map. Meanwhile, now Izyaki's committing. They're going to trance this, and because they're trancing, now they can just hard end. And notice how they're inting on this diva. Look at this. Look. Fleta, Tracer, Brig, Sombra, Zen. It's terrifying. Doesn't stand a chance. Or Marvel, not the diva. But diva's probably going to get chunked too, yeah. So yeah, it's like they're just surrounded. It's literally just map control, guys. Like, a lot of this could be down to micro and teamwork as well, but it's map control. It's like Seoul Dynasty's positioning is consistently worse. Consistently worse. They do not know how to play this meta. They do not know how to play the game of Overwatch. Yeah, exactly, Mentos. Like, that is literally it. And by the way, chat, I'm trying to make this like this is in depth, and it's gonna take practice. You're not gonna be able to just instantly recognize this on your own. But anytime you watch an Overwatch League game this season, watch for flanks and watch for like map control, like angles and flanks, and you'll be surprised at how much you pick up. And you'll be able to like, hey, I can see how they lost the fight. Okay, so we'll talk a little more time about talking about ult game here. Even though ironically there's not many ults out, there's not really a lot for Seoul Dynasty to do except hopefully farm a trance before this fight ends. You're gonna be able to use your diva to stall in point because you'll be able to use your full HP and then bomb, remech, and then do it again, and then hopefully build as much trance off that as possible. I mean, Shanghai doesn't have much either, but they don't really need it because remember, if neither team has ultimates, the team with a better positioning just wins, right? So it's not like, oh, Shanghai's had to use a lot of ultimates to hold on at this point. They've used a lot, but so has Seoul. Hey, what do you want, cat? So they're more than comfortable of just chilling and, you know, holding high ground again, and Shanghai Seoul's probably gonna do a terrible job clearing out angles again. And heck, you could have, you know, Fleta spams, and then copy Sombra on the high ground and just builds an EMP. You know, so there's a lot of and Lit is also in a situation where he could build an EMP this fight, so you could be dealing with double EMP. So yeah, this is not good for Shanghai, or for Seoul, excuse me. So there's a rotate all over again. All that work for nothing because we don't know how to play the map. Okay, so they're gonna do something screwy. They're gonna flip. They're gonna pincer. And I can appreciate this. Though this is a gambling move. Generally, you don't see teams splitting this early because you could take and you can rush this group, or you could rush this group because they're so far apart. Usually, when you set up angles that are this far apart, you do so when your backline's set up because your backline has good LOS. They're like the commander generals, right? When your Briggs then are rotating like this, they can't see anything of what's happening over here. So you can very easily rush them and kill them here, or you can rush them and kill them over here. Now, it's different, which is fine. Like, I appreciate Seoul trying to mix it up because they clearly, whatever they're doing wasn't working. They don't know how to do it. It wasn't working, etc., etc., etc. It's also worth noting as well that Fleta gets a little sloppy and doesn't scout this and almost dies. He shouldn't need to copy. But are we going to see Seoul Dynasty like actually pressure high ground here? For the first time, are they actually going to pressure the proper angle? Do you see what guys, we see what I'm saying though? Like, do you see how like this is actually like significantly more valuable than anything that Seoul Dynasty has done up to this point? There's the copy. So Diva ends, Remix bomb, but Seoul has pretty good angles here. They're all over the place. They've come from front, they've come from behind, and they've come from under. And they've also, the big thing here is they've played in a way to where Fleta is no longer in a good position to spam. Like, yes, he had copy, but if he had stayed Echo, he would have died. Like, this is not where you want to be with Echo. This is not what you want to be doing as Echo, especially against a comp with, you know, Brig and Discord and Diva and Tracer and Sombra. Like, you're just gonna die. So this is rough. This is rough. Like, Seoul could win this. Now the concern here is obviously look at what Lee Jae-gong has just got. So the fight wasn't decisive enough. Lee Jae-gong lives with 1 HP. And there's the rally. So this is going to be rough for Seoul to try and win. The Vol fight, I don't really have a whole lot to say here. It's worth noting that even now, even after all this mess, look at how Seoul's positioned. Or Shanghai, excuse me. All this mess, and they still have the angles, and they still have the point control, or the angles, so that anybody on point is walking into a coffin, essentially. Shanghai deserves the full hold there. They significantly outplayed it. So, like, this is the same thing we've seen on First Point. It's a different map, different players, but Seoul Dynasty wins through mechanics and team play. That's not map control. Shanghai plays the worst composition, in my opinion. Maybe it's better on this map because the Echo has a little bit more space. But they just play on the map way better. Way better. Okay. Overwatch is not complicated. It's simple, but it's hard to like master. Because the concepts that I'm explaining are simple, but there's a lot of like, but if, right? There's a lot of like, you have to really, really understand the concept, and then even then you can still make mistakes with applying it. So it's a simple game, but it's it's difficult to master for sure. Okay, so again, Fleta with the Echo. Let's we see again. Do you see how like who rotates first? It's not Briggs in. They'd be scared to rotate first. They have their like more mobile, beefier heroes. Like Ball goes in first, then your Echo gets packed and she goes in. You know, faded. They're clearing out their DPS. Now the backline might rotate. I'm a little surprised Marvel was playing so aggressively there, but yeah. Fade's going to roll away towards his team. That's good. Fitz is trying to get the hack. It's unsuccessful. Fleta just gets yoinked. Where's Fleta? I'm going to laugh if once again, like, Seoul wins fights just because, you know, right-click funny. So where's Fleta? I see they're still in the process of rotating. Fleta is discorded and is right-clicked. He is right-clicked. Oh my gosh. His health goes from like 0 to 100 to 0. Oh, Fleta's up here. Fleta is up here at the very top of our screen. I don't like where he's positioned. He should be playing it way more safe. He should just be here, pumping out damage and helping his team clear out these angles. I don't know if he's like poking out backline or whatever, but that's just silly. You're not going to get anything done. He literally just gets right clicked. Creative again with the right click. Just a mechanical outplay and Sabielby or Fleta just feats. I don't know what Fleta was doing. But they can't push it. They can't really push it. It's going to be really rough to push. I just get tilted when people say you can't play like a GM player in Plats. The game works differently. No. That's just bad advice. Play like the player that you want to be. Like, it might not be the best way to climb out of Plat. Like, there's probably ways to cheese it and climb out of Plat, but that's only if you're like a Diamond or a Masters player. You just don't worry about cheesing out of ranks. Just play better. So the question, chat, is Shanghai got to do a better job controlling angles than Seoul? Because already you can see Seoul is already clearly leaning on this side right here. They like this side of the map for whatever reason. Like, look at Ball, look at Tracer. I think that's Tracer. Or Sombra. No, it's Sombra. Tracer's over here. They're probably leaning this side to probably punish Fleta in rotation. But we will keep an eye on it.
Lip's in a decent flank position. Lip is really deep.
So Lip is looking. The reason Lip's here is he's looking for Translocator. He's looking for Translocator.
Lip is gonna be careful. Animo spy checking hard. Oh, dude, this is a middle.
Okay, so Seoul Dynasty goes high ground.
He's freaking out.
There's a Translocator. Ha ha. Just get better. I mean, it's better advice than, you know, don't play like so and so. There's a Translocator. He's gonna translocate out. Now, Seoul does have a decent angle from this side, and their Ball Sombra are leaning on coast side, which is good, I think.
Oh, dude. This is a middle gear solid shit. Lip was like, he's freaking out. Lip was just like,
there's a Translocator. He's out. They are leaning on this side of the map, which makes point pressure very difficult, so I can respect that. Fleta is standing out in the open on high ground. There's the committal. Bang. Huge peel.
So that's both supports down. Shanghai have lost both supports, and that's going to be reset.
So, I mean, they just angled them. Like, if you look at how this engaged, they cleared Lip, they forced Lip out. So the Translocator kill is big. But, do you see how, like, let's get the last possible frame here. How do they engage? Bang, bang, and they're checking their own Ball so that their backline is unable to follow up undisturbed. I'm disappointed in Shanghai. I don't like how Shanghai played this one at all. Shanghai's backline was way too aggressively rotated with the Sombra out, and there's still nobody like really prioritizing like the good angle control. I'm not really sure exactly how. It looked like Shanghai just got bullied into bunker, which is not great. So that's it. Start over again. It's a tough point. Even if you understand the concepts properly, it's a tough point. Ooh, Lip. Greeting. They might go hunt him down. Yeah, they're gonna do that. That was a mistake from Lip. That Translocator placement was way too close for between fights. In mid fight, you can be a little bit more aggressive with your Translocator because nobody has the time to chase you down. But they had nothing else better to do, so that was a mistake. That should have been closer to second point.
Like, fuck you way possible. He just like kills Lip and gets EMP. So now, I think this is where.
Not sure what Fitz is doing there. I'm not sure if he's trying to bait, but there's no way they're going to try and EMP that. Again, Fleta is trying to assist his team in rotation. Uh-oh. Hey. Okay. So this is where I want Shanghai to push. I want Shanghai to clear these guys out first.
I think the fact that creative killed Fleta.
Okay. They're rotating.
Creative's actually done a decent amount.
Again, it seems like teams are just favoring this side of the map on attack and favoring the opposite sides in defense. I'm not really sure why that is. Maybe there's something I'm missing, like some scrimbox stuff that I'm not really familiar with, but it seems a little weird, but sure. Like, they're hard peeling, yeah, this is not good for Marvel. Marvel shouldn't do this.
I think the fact that creative killed Fleta early is huge.
So Marvel looks like he hard commits. But the problem is he's committing in a not so great location. Like, they do get a Discord, so that is a plus, but I would prefer them to rotate a little bit further up first. Because he commits, yes, his Tracer's a good angle, his Sombra's probably, but his Sombra I think is here. And his Zen just gets a Discord, that's it. Diva's no position to follow up, Zen Yada damage, no position, so this is literally like a 2v-ish 6-ish 6. So this is not a good play for Marvel. Easy hack, easy kill. Marvel just feeds. So now Shanghai needs to clear angles, do their homework, and they win. They do not need to rush this. There's this solo EMP. Forces trance. They will get the DMech. Yes, they'll get the DMech. Oh, they get the trade. That's huge. Still winnable though. Shanghai's going to commit both their tank ults. Doesn't do a whole lot. Does clear point though. Shanghai is not... See, you notice how Shanghai, like, they don't give a rip about point. They're going to go kill the flank first, and then they'll go point. Because they win the fight. Go kill the flank, then worry about point. If you go to point, yeah, you'll shoot Marble a little bit and make them run away, but then you're going to die to Zen, and you're going to die to whoever this is. I don't know who this is. Brig, you know? Don't let them clutch. Kill the flank first. So well done by Shanghai in terms of target priority there. I have really no idea what happened prior to that. The angle from the spectator was really bad. This is just GG's. Like, it's over. So... better map control, better positioning, and some suspect moments from Marvel, honestly. Okay. How are we doing, chat? That was an easy map. How long is this map going to be? Because I'm a little tired. I'm a little tired, honestly. 246, 255. Wait, is this another like fast map? I'm gonna cheat. I'm gonna skip ahead. Yes, it's another fast map. All right, we can do one more. We can do one more. This is another... I don't know. I didn't see the result. I did not see the result, but I did see Chinese flashing on my screen, so I assume it was a quick match. Okay, let's roll. And again, if you guys have any questions, just hit me up.
Support line. Look, if you want... I'll say this much. I have full faith in Alarm and Funny Astro. The rest of them, I'm not sure.
Okay, so again, the Echo variant, which seems to rely very heavily on Fleta being undisturbed on a high ground angle and just getting basically clearing out angles just by being like an auto turret, just pumping out damage. Seen? Yeah, my bad. I haven't done that in a while. That's what I get for using my phone.
Okay, let's focus on this game.
So again, if we look at this situation here, like let's look at this from here. So like there's the choke here, and then there's like what is it, security here. Right, this is like where your team can go in here and go in through here. Oops, I'm doing the wrong color. There's a choke here, and then there's security, right, which will kind of draw like that, right? And then I'm really putting some effort in this one. And then there's this, and then there's that, and then there's stairs. I mean, look how much effort I'm putting into this, guys. Look, I know. And then there's high ground here. Then there's the building. And then we'll signify that this is like behind a wall, right? Like behind a wall. Can you see now? Can you see now? Yes? Give me a yes, if it's a yes. Then I don't know if you guys can see. Okay, you guys can't see. You said true artist, so obviously you can see. And then there's like elevator over here, and then there's like the mini health pack here, and then, you know, you got like your little funky thing over here. All right. So what I expect is, again, like you can't just go down main. You need to like, really there's only one way to rotate without speed. So sometimes teams they'd go through, I mean, I guess you could do this. This is a little bit of a gamble rotate to go through this and then quickly go and then like flank behind them. But that's pretty sketch. And you can get stuffed at this choke. So what I expect is they're going to stand here for a little bit. They're going to spam, get them off of high ground and spam them back a little bit. And then they're going to do one of two things. They're either going to rotate to high ground, which is good and bad because high ground, you know, good LOS on the point, but it also means that if, I don't remember who is on defense, but it does open you up to getting flanked because you go to high ground like this right here and you're peeking out here. But it means that the enemy team can like sneak up behind you, go up in stairs and shoot from the back, or, you know, Fleta can fly over the roof and shoot in the back. Again, I don't remember who's attacking, but if Fleta's defending. And then obviously you're kind of out in the open. And then, or you can go around this way. Whoops. You can go this way underneath and wrap around and take the fight like on this corner here. And you have a pretty good corner. And you can kind of like, there's not a lot of good angles here, but you can like kind of position here and then send like your DPS around this way and like fight right here and like shoot this way. So you have like an angle here and an angle here, and you like fight for inside of cafe control so you can spam them on point. So you try either set up like high ground and then you can like angle from like here, So we'll highlight these. You could either, I'm not going to use pink or blue, but like, okay, you can either angle like this and this, or you can angle like this and this. And that's it's a little outdated. I don't know how this meta is played on this map in particular, but that'd be my guess, is something similar to that. For defense, your job is to, like, if they do this full rotate here, you can play cafe, or you can play this back corner here. If they go high ground, you basically have to play cafe. But the problem with high ground is they have to force point pressure. So if they go high ground, you can just hide in cafe and wait till they drop to point. If they drop to point, then you can shoot them from here, and you can peek them from here at the same time. And if you shoot them from here, the people in high ground can't punish the people over here. They've really shrunk the foot. Shut up! You guys are awful. Idiots, all of you. All right, so let's see what. Okay, so it's Seoul on defense, Shanghai in attack. All right, so let's see what rotation Shanghai does.
What else we got?
So yeah, they're sending their ball ahead of time, Sombra ahead of time.
Just playing ball, guys. Gesture was only playing Winston yesterday. So Gesture's in.
So they're just kind of chilling, taking their time, clearing out angles, checking their flanks, clearing stuff out. They're going to try and stage their ball on the flank on the other side. So if ball is like on point 2, so he's going all the way out. Backline is rotating this way.
Fate's already in the backline. Fate's hard flanking right now. There's no one really on top.
Zero, thank you for the follow. Or Masika. I don't know if that's how you pronounce your name, but I feel that's better than Makika. Thanks for the follow. All right, so you can kind of see.
So because both teams are diving, no one's really.
Please give me a main picture, please. Okay, so we can see it right here. So
you see Fate, by the way, Fate's already in the backline.
Fate's backline. They're gonna go for some high ground control. So there's their angle here as well as the angle here.
Flanking right now.
Matsika. Okay.
No one really on top of Cafe. So because both
they're gonna mark Fate, send him out.
Fate's just gonna be annoying. No one's.
And you can kind of see here how like the angle pressure here is really important. Now, what's curious to me is, and this is kind of interesting. So like Seoul actually gives up the point entirely and Cafe entirely. And the reason why they do that is it's difficult for the people in Cafe to poke out and support point when there's high ground. So what they do is they actually rotate all the way over here, and so that they can shoot who's on point, but these guys can't shoot them. So remember, they can't shoot them. They're behind a wall. And that's a concern because blue controls the point. Red has to kill blue to win the fight or get the space. So this is what we struggle with. But yeah, do you see how like Void has to be really careful here because Void could get lit up from his position. He could get hacked, he could get shot. So he has to be really careful. He might even go inside Cafe or top of Cafe, and he just needs to avoid taking damage. Yeah, he runs away. So this is like a really good angle we can see here. Oh, Zen actually drops. That's strange. And Fate's getting murdered.
Oh my god, he is actually getting contested.
And this is the scary thing. Like, if Fate falls asleep and Tracer marks him, like, there's nobody who can help him over there. But yeah, here's the crossfire that we were talking about that I was expecting more. Is like this. And then because they've dropped off of high ground, they actually migrate back to Cafe a little bit. And then now they're doing this again. So you can kind of see it's like an X. Like, kill box, you know, kill box, and the kill box is point. And that's going to be, at this point, what I expect is, you know, them to touch point, and like, this is where things get really, really hairy. Like, I'm just going to wait and see what happens. Because it's really rough.
Back to the point, and now they can do
oh, Fate's going to die. Fate's...
Void and Fate are both super
hacked Mega.
Had his health pack
Fate's dead. Wait, Fate?
Fate just had his health pack stolen.
Wait, Fate? I was like, what happened to Fate? Like, how did Fate not die there instantly? But yeah, that's where, like, Fate taking so much damage early in the fight really sucks, because this comp just doesn't have enough to help him back up again. So Fate, the fight can be actually kind of boiled down to Fate versus Prophet. Prophet gets the better of Fate on the flank, which means they lose the flank, which means Fate demands a lot of ult charge, and Fate isn't doing anything, which basically makes it just GG's. You know, it's very difficult to overcome this HP deficit, which is exactly what, like, Shanghai is at right now.
He comes back to the point, and now they can do a 6v5. Void and Fate are both.
But I'm curious, how does Creative die? What does Creative do?
You see this
Creative is inside. No, Creative is solo. Okay, so this is what we talked about, but it's the flip side. So you can see Creative over here, and you're gonna see Fleta fly up and over and murder Creative. He's hacked.
Oh my god, Fate had
but
his health
that's a
stolen.
GG.
Fate just had his health pack stolen. Neither of them can heal.
So Soul
gets one kill, and the rest of them
actually does a really good job of checking. So like Soul, like, you have to think of this because remember we talked about like how the flank. So this is the point, and this is the high ground, right? And this is the cafe. Because the angles are really weird and tight and not really very fluid, you can almost call the important angle is what happens over here, like what happens off the map. This is what matters because the enemy team needs to stage some sort of pressure on your backline to be able to do anything. But if Prophet just murders Fate, that's it, right? Because Fate can't pressure backline. So in a way, Seoul is actually playing proper macro because they're not letting Shanghai take away that flank, that angle. And even though it doesn't really feel like a flank or an angle, it is. It's a flank. It's a flank that Ball's going to use. It's a flank that Tracer's going to use. It's a flank that, Sombra might use. And you prevented it from being used. So really well done by Prophet, mirroring and getting the better of the mirror too. That's the big thing. Like that's where the mechanics matter, is winning that 1v1. And then, it's just downhill from there.
Fake just had his health pack stolen. Neither of them can heal. Flitter gets
questionable stick.
The rest of them are gone.
But whatever.
Gets a very quick pulse. Alright, that's going to be a reset. So it took Fate a while to do anything, and then he had his health pack stolen by Gesture.
Prophet, you don't charge. You're close to your rally. You would have had time to regen your health packs. Your armor packs, rather. So we'll see what Shanghai does. They're again going to try and like clear out this angle here. I guess this blocks D.Va spy checking, or I guess not. That was weird.
So he's not going to be able to EMP from that position.
So Lip gets through.
Is Lip going to try maybe? Oh yeah, see, he's trying to flank, but Animo spy checking.
Oh, he gets through.
Unfortunate timing though, because as soon as Animo stopped checking the door, Lip got through.
Fat EMP. Wait, what?
Goes now.
That was like a millimeter of like EMPing like 4 people.
It's unfortunate timing though, because as soon as Animo stopped checking the door, Lip got through.
Dude, are you joking me? So Lip, because he like is able to not get spy checked on the flank, sets up a really nice EMP, but D.Va LOS's it, and because of the little jump, Zen and Brig LOS it, and I assume he thought that there was probably a flanker over here too. He gets nobody. If he had gotten D.Va and Zen Brig, you obviously would have had a hard time following up on Zen Brig, but he probably could have solo killed Zen, and D.Va definitely dies because they have good angles on D.Va. Oh my gosh. So EMPs, nobody. And all that work for nothing.
Now,
oh,
no. He didn't catch anybody. Lip just whiffed his EMP. It's unfortunate timing though, because as soon as Animo stopped checking the door, Lip got through.
That's rough, man.
Now, he didn't catch anybody.
He gets sent out too, and they get a 4-man EMP or a 3-man EMP. There's the trance.
Meanwhile, Fitz gets 3.
Prophet, hello.
Checking the door. Lip got
Prophet
through.
just feeds.
Goes now. He didn't catch anybody. Lip just whiffed his EMP. Meanwhile, Fitz.
He's discorded, but he's mid-trance, and he doesn't recall. So Prophet just feeds. Prophet just straight up hints. And this is really unfortunate. Because now Shanghai has actually got some space out of this. So they whiffed the EMP, but they did get some space out of it. You kind of see like how they've kind of got point control, and they've got pretty good angle set up like here and here. Or they will. And now Prophet's gone. And that's not good. So Creative is also not really super close to, like he's close to his trance, but he's not gonna, like this could be very hairy. Like I imagine 2 ticks out of this at least.
He's gonna counter. Creative doesn't have a counter. And Flitter's still gonna get a million kills because he's good.
Please do not push inside this room.
And he's fragging. He frags Gesture. Okay, this is all Easyaki. So the fact that Easyaki counters Fitz and allows Flitter to go deep is what's gonna.
I don't like that rally. I don't like that rally. They should have just at least not pushing in with rally. Just play your space, make them recontest. You have enough ultimates to deal with it, I think. If you're gonna push in, they need to be pushing in harder than they did, and they didn't get enough kills. Lee Jae-gong needs to survive. He desperately needs to survive.
You know, it's funny. Ironically, Lip hit the lip of the door with his EMP. That's why he didn't catch anybody.
Oh no, chat, no.
Ironically, you know, it's funny. Ironically, Lip hit the lip of the door with his EMP. That's why he didn't catch anybody.
Fate they just never stabilize.
A tactical whiff sounds about.
Fleta copies Tracer and oh my gosh.
1 HP on profit.
No, chat. No, this is not the type of Overwatch I signed up to watch. You're up 3. You're up 2. But the problem is chat, do we see the problem here? Do we see what I was talking about with the rally? Like, Animo pops rally, okay? You killed Prophet, you're up 1, and you have all the angles on the point. You have all the angles on the point, you're up 2. And they've popped rally. Alright, chat, what do? I'm gonna go pee. I will be right back. But I want you guys in chat to tell me what Shanghai should have done here and what they could have done, like what it would have meant. All right, can you guys hear me? Shoot, my feet are cold. I'm gonna turn up the heat a little bit. Give me a sec. We need some rice as well, if you guys don't mind. Pressure point, rally close. Yeah, exactly. You already have angles set up. You have the entire point. To walk onto the point would be to be walking into a guillotine. Because their Briggs in are safely positioned. They can discord, they can do whatever. You have angles here and angles here. And you have to walk to a choke. You have to stop him from capping, right? You're walking through a choke. To walk through the choke, like, first off, Animo is rallying, but they wouldn't even be able to walk out of the choke. They have to wait for Gesture and Prophet to walk out of the choke. To walk out of the choke, what they're gonna do is they'll try and farm trance, and they'll try and use trance to walk out of the choke. But the problem is, you'll trance, they'll rally, and you're at a stalemate, but you still don't have space. Instead, they rally, push into the enemy team, and look how many kills they secure.
Flitter's still gonna get 1,000,000 kills because he's good. He's playing Echo and he's fragging. He frags Gesture.
They demech a diva. And by the way, along the way, look at Fate's HP. They demech a diva, but look at how much it costs them. Look at Fate's HP. Because they're going through a choke and into the enemy space, even though they're up 2, Fate almost dies. And they never recover. They never recover, and they never actually get anything out of their rally. They don't force trance. They just don't force trance out of it. They don't force trance out of the very, very end, and that amount of trance, and then Li Zhigong is now, his rally is over, and trance is still going, and Fate never recovers. Fate never recovers. That's a huge error. Huge, huge, huge error from Shanghai. Play your angles, guys. Play your space. Don't do this crap. If you're at an advantage, abuse the advantage. Remember how we talked about when you got the kill on, I think it was a Fitz, Soul got the kill on, was it Fitz? Or Lip? They got the kill on Lip. And then they like just went to point and sat there instead of deepening angles. This is like the similar kind of problem. You get an advantage and you respond to it incorrectly. When you get an advantage, you deepen your angles and you play safe. You don't sit AFK on point and you don't int. You play your angles and you wait. You set the trap. Really poor play from Shanghai.
Pulse bomb connection, nice Prophet. 1 HP on Prophet though, he's got to heal. He's got to get earlier. 2 U bombs. Prophet gets contested by Lee J gone.
Oh.
Prophet wins that on like 9 HP. What?
Oof. Me, dude. That was insane from Prophet. Yo, who's in here underrating Prophet? Who's?
Hate to do this chat, but I gotta get some water. Give me 1 second. These long streams kill me. Oh, change my title? Yeah. Title. Oh shoot, I gotta close Epic then. Shoot. Title, show. I'll show match analysis. Teach you how to spell while you're at it. I can't work miracles, EasyBot. I can do a good job, but I can't work miracles. Couldn't they have pressured them out of cafe with a high ground cafe? Maybe, but getting high ground in cafe means you have to walk through cafe, and it's kind of rough. Like, you see what I'm saying? Like, I think, I'm not sure I understand what you're saying exactly. Do you mean, like, why didn't they just go high ground and pressure them out of here? Maybe, but, like, you have to walk through cafe to get there, and you're walking in the middle of a swarm. It's just, it's like free-loading damage, just, like, dumping damage in. So, alright. I mean, honestly, EasyBot is yeah. I think Shanghai kind of threw that fight, but Seoul's macro play is dog. That's pretty bad.
Yo, who's in here underrating Profit? Who's coming into my chat and saying Profit ain't good? What's going on, guys? What's going on? Holy dude. EMP from Fitz catches 3. Izyaki's deadly jig on
Whoa!
Dude.
That's clean. Nice job.
EMP Profit ain't good. What's going on, guys? What's going on?
They know that, or at least they track that they're close to trance, right? We're going to be building trance soon. So they don't want to wait. They just want to go. This is better than the last time Seoul did a proactive EMP, because now there's like actual follow-up from people other than EMP Sombra. Like, the tracers can actually go in and follow up off this one. And you're also, I assume, going to see Briggs in, like, already forward. Yeah, so you're going to see Briggs in follow up as well. So that was good. And you're going to look, because you have more follow-up, and because they're a little bit further forward positioned, look at this, look at this. 1, 2, 3, 4 kills and a D-back. Brilliant. And you'll take that too, because if you look at the ult charge here, like, that's like let's look at the ult charge.
Holy dude.
So before the next fight even happens, you know, Animo's already like 25% on this. They're gonna have trance, they're gonna have rally, and they're gonna be close to pulse bomb and gonna be build mindsman fight. So, like, you know what, you take that as like a big boost to all of your ultimates, so that next fight you're gonna be in a better position, because that was like the only ult they had there. You just watched like 10 minutes live, yeah. Excuse me, chat. Okay, so question: is Shanghai going to be able to rotate and set up their angles and point pressure fast enough so they can get this EMP off before the Seoul Dynasty get the sport ultimates? My vote is no. I don't think it's going to happen. I do not think it's going to happen. I think Seoul is close enough to where they're going to be able to get it in time. So let's see.
Okay, Lip's turn now. Creative's on 80%.
Ooh, no.
Really do
How? Who got through the choke? Who found his translocator?
Okay, Lip's turn now. Creative's on 80%.
So this is really important. Lip is in the backline. Lips is the only one that survived that EMP. Huge. Huge play.
Okay, Lip's turn now. Creative's on 80%.
Oh, and he decloaks right as it gets destroyed.
Really do something. Fitz, low HP. Fate just slams him to the wall.
Ouch.
It's flattened.
So, that's a little unfortunate. It's a little bit on Fitz. Because remember we talked about earlier, like, you have to respond to where the enemy Sombra is. And if you know that she's in deep, you have to, like, be conservative with your translocator placement. So in other words, if you know the Sombra is with her team and she's like she just spawned, you don't care about your translocator back here, because it's gonna take her forever to get there, and so you don't worry about it. But I don't think they realize that Sombra survived EMP. And so what if the Sombra survived EMP? That's the first thing that she's gonna go do, is go find your Sombra translocator. And so that's actually a huge play from Lip and a misplay from Fitz.
Lip's turn now to really do something.
So Lip just survives and sneaks past Seoul.
Low HP, Fate just slams him to the wall. It's flattened.
So now Shanghai can kind of accelerate their macro plan.
5% for creative. Lip's gotta go, man. Lip's gotta go soon.
But my problem is I don't know. Like, this it needs to happen now. Like, the EMP needs to happen now. Like, this needs to be EMP'd and killed. Like, right now. Or you need a Mines Point or something. It needs to, what happened to Fleta? Like, this needs to happen now. What? Hello? Fleta?
It's flattened.
I don't know where backline is going, but in my opinion, this is here. With less than half a tick to go, I don't even think you need to do a full rotate. Go set your backline on main and like the corner there and just go. Set up your angles and go.
Oh man, Lip's gotta go soon.
But Fleta just ends. Fleta just gets, again, Creative is just destroyed Fleta like 3 times.
It's flattened. 90% for Animal.
Creative has got so many free picks. Now, obviously, Fleta is just kind of feeding here. But
2 ticks as well.
what am I getting a notification for? Oh. But like, that's actually unreal. Mines, but it's not happened fast enough. They're even. Fitz is going to be back sooner than Fleta will. And they now have Trance. So Trance. Oh, maybe not even Trance. There's EMP.
2 ticks as well, by the way. Flitter's down. Yo, we gotta go, guys.
They're gonna get rally in time. I assume Animo is gonna rally off of cooldown. Bang! Rally, rally, rally. There's a rally. They get the EMP, but again, do you see how, like, because they didn't EMP properly, they try to EMP backline, but again, do you see where backline's positioned? This is just greedy, man. Like, it's so hard to get the follow-up here. And because you took way too long to set up on the backline instead of just EMPing frontline where you have angles, you're not going to get the kill. So in other words, let me describe this as this. You have the point, and then you have Cafe. Okay, so I'm looking at it from, like, you're facing Cafe. You have enemy tanks that are already positioned here, right? In DPS and stuff. If they're close to support ultimates, you don't have time to set up and flank and stage to get a EMP back here. You just need to EMP these guys where you can set up angles really quickly on. You can get angles on point really easily. You need to do it now.
No HP.
And because they go in so far, the EMP is fat. It hits 2 or 3 targets. It hits backline. But who can kill people back there? You can't even see back there.
EMP, it catches Creative and Animo.
So you just need to. This is just. It's not good, man.
Creative yet because he got armored by Animo already. So well played. Early armor.
Then Creative just trances.
2 kills and then a trance.
Oh, he doesn't get the stick. I thought he was gonna get the stick.
Litter uncontested as usual. If he gets a bunch of damage on.
And the problem with all this is because Shanghai rushed. And because Shanghai rushed and did it poorly, so they didn't even rush properly. If they'd rushed just EMP Trance, Tracer Diva, you just win the fight easy peasy. But they rushed, and then they rushed EMP backline where nobody could shoot. So if you're gonna rush, at least rush properly. You know what I'm saying? That's like trying to like rush and dive a Widow who's a million miles away. You can't do that. Go rush and kill the tank instead. Just hope Widow doesn't hit a shot. They're rushing and going for backline, which means that their backline, not only do they get nothing out of the rush, their backline isn't rotated properly because Shanghai doesn't have good angles. So they didn't have time to set up angles because they decided to rush, but then they didn't rush properly, so they got no value out of rushing, no value out of setting angles. They have no angles, no value of rush, 0. They've done nothing right this entire fight.
They haven't capped. Hey, whoa. C9? Okay, hello? Touch the point.
This is GG's.
We're about to...
GG's. Really poor from Shanghai. As Diva, I like to give a report in the summit based on my scouting and tracking different fight faces. Yeah, it's rough, but yeah, that's definitely a big thing that you can do for sure. So Shanghai, I mean, really just throws. 2 fights in a row. Obviously the fight where they rushed into the cafe was the worst one, but that fight right there too was very, very winnable. You get a pick, free space, free angles. You could either rush in with your man advantage and try and brawl really fast with your support ultimate, like we talked about, or your DPS ultimate. But they didn't do that. Or you can just play it slow and take angles and take space because they're a man down. And they didn't do that. It's just like what we saw Seoul failed to do. Or Seoul failed to do on Night Market. They get a pick, and then they just kind of sit in their hands, and they don't do anything. They don't immediately int, and they don't immediately push angles. They just sit there, and nothing good happens. So Shanghai plays it slow. Or Seoul plays it slow. They play inside. They bait Shanghai in. Shanghai gets nothing out of that, and then they just push out with a better position.
Married. That's why he's not going to cuddle you. He's married, guys.
Sorry for the clink of the spoon. I'm almost done.
Rico, get to 10 again. What the?
Dude, what are you doing?
Rico. Are you?
I'm actually curious who's going to win this, because I know this map is short, so means either Shanghai caps or holds, right? Or, you know, Seoul gets that 84% or whatever they need. Again, I'm curious to see like how Shanghai is going to be playing this with their angles, because they don't have the tracer, they can't really stop ball from rotating behind them. Remember how Prophet stopped the ball from staging behind, stopped him from taking that angle? They can't stop that. But what they can do with Echo is they can punish the high ground a lot more. They can use this roof and go up and punish and threaten the high ground a lot more. And they can also punish whoever's sitting on point. So, in other words, remember the whole, like, the X, like, Team Red has the angle backside of Cafe shooting on a point, and then they have this side, and then Team Blue will have people peeking here or here, and they'll have people peeking here. Whoops. Here. Well, if you have the Echo comp, if you're just pressing mouse 1 off of your corner, you're going to be doing a lot more. So Seoul's going to really have to be able to like win those flanks, like kill flanks, like, because they can't just go to point. Going to point, you're going to get murdered because you don't have an Echo.
Rico's trying to be my sponsor right now. Britton Reynolds, Diddle RT, DeQuaga, Chris.
So there's Seoul. They're clearing out that angle. They lost the Mega. That's unfortunate. Not a lot you can do about that there. And do you see how Shanghai's like matching this? Like they're utilizing their Echo spam to match this. My only complaint about this is like, not only complaint, but my complaint is like, I'm not sure where Creative and Animo and I guess Gesture's flanking behind, but I would like to see more support from backline on this. Like there's no Harmony, there's no Discord that I can see here. And Gesture's staging all the way around behind. If Gesture's not going with your ball tracer, then your ball tracer aren't going to win the duel. So that you guys just need to survive this. That being said, I still want some more support here. Like Briggs, they need to be supporting this. Maybe they're in the midst of a rotation, but like, wait.
Thank you enough for all of this.
Let's see. We see it for a second here. I want to see it again. Okay. Yeah, where are they? Okay, they're just on main. They're not even rotating. Yeah, see, like, they're hard marking Prophet. He needs to be getting support here. Like, if they're all on Prophet, they're not going to be punishing your Briggs in rotate. Oof, that is not good. It does mean that Gesture should be free, though. Like, Gesture should not be contested at all, because there's no, they're hard, like, Shanghai is all-inning on this flank right here. They're all-inning and defending this flank. They don't even care about what's behind them. And that's kind of how it is sometimes. Like, you can't always guard every flank, can't mark every angle. You kind of have to pick and choose, but it is unusual.
Thank you so much for that. So, 83.3% for Seoul to get this.
There's the pressure on backline. And they pressure the backline not because they're looking for a dive, but because, hey, now we can rotate high ground, because that Zen is not discording us. He's not supporting his tracer. He's, you know, turning around. So, this is good.
Look for the
now, my only concern with this, as I said, is this is the spot where Echo is going to be really scary. Small space, easy spam angle, and obviously the high ground. So this is where Fleta is going to, like, this is where Fleta is going to have a lot of value here. Would you say with the Shanghai's comp, they should prioritize lane control? Yeah, I mean, it definitely helps. Open space is not going to be Fleta's friend. It's going to be either like small chokes like this, like little small spaces, or just pressing mouse 1 down a lane, like you were saying. So sure, like if they would want to hard stuff this, Echo is going to be really good at that, you know? Anything with a lot of spam, and certainly Echo.
A is not like, there's not a lot of room on A.
I'm not sure what Fate's doing. Fate just almost completely fed there.
For Seoul.
Look at Fate, guys.
Back to the game, though. Oh, man. You're incredible. Thank you so much for that. So,
look at Fate. I don't know what Fate was saying. I don't know if he messed up or what. This is pretty funny. Fate comes out and he's like, yo, what's up, brothers? I'm going to smack you around, you know? And then he's just like, oh. I'm in trouble. I'm in danger, and he almost dies.
So if your Prophet will get mapped too.
Sorry, I'm gonna go back a little bit because I want to see what Prophet's doing in the background.
Look, I'm gonna be honest. A is not.
Did you notice here, chat, that Seoul has kind of abandoned this flank? They've gone high ground, but it looks like Prophet is staged behind.
A lot of room on A to maneuver around.
Yeah, he's staging from main, and he's coming from this. So it's like probably gonna see Ball and Tracer and maybe Sombra. So like Seoul gave up on the thing that they were marking hard with Echo, and so now they're gonna take a different angle. So there's Sombra, there's Tracer. That's a lot of pressure. Ball's in there as well. He just get hacked, and there you go. It's a really clean dive. Like, you can see this as, you know, they got high gun control, right? We're looking down, pointing towards Cafe right now, right? Cafe's here. They got high ground control. You know, and Shanghai is all in here, right? And they're spamming here, and they're like a little bit of angles here. But they got high ground control. They didn't die because I think Fate honestly just messed up his engage. I think he went in too early. He lost a lot of HP. Because Fate screwed up, he has to run away. And this means backline's now free. Because the backline's now free, we're now free to dive. And so we see, you know, Tracer comes down from here, and she's got this angle, and then Ball, and then, you know, Somber. And this is scary. This is really scary for Shanghai because they didn't really do anything here, and they didn't stop them from going this way either. So there's no advantage. They didn't control high ground. They didn't control behind. So they have no space.
Shield bash away, and he just kills.
Easy.
He makes void.
That's a huge kill on Fitz though. Huge kill. It shouldn't happen. I assume Fitz just got headshot and just like messed up. Yeah, Fitz just greeds. Fitz just greeds. Fitz just greeds. I don't know where that shot came from. It looks almost completely random. Like it seemed like he was out of combat and he died. So I'm not sure what happened. But really, really unfortunate. Now, the key thing here is that number one, Shanghai was able to get a kill, which means this fight is winnable. But the more important key thing, so that's good for Shanghai, right? Check, check. But the big thing for Seoul is that they have maintained point control, point pressure, and then they didn't force in here. Now, obviously, Fitz died, but I don't think that's because Seoul forced. I think that's just a weird kill. I don't know what happened there. So Seoul is in a position now to where they can set up around point and take the angles that Shanghai failed. They can succeed where Shanghai failed. They didn't force in here, set up the angles, make Shanghai come out and contest point without your Diva, without your Zen. Or Echo, excuse me. Oh, please don't go in there, Diva. Please don't. Okay, they just end there. Again, Izayaki, man. How is he getting that kill?
He makes void.
So where's creative? Oh, there's the right click right here. Bang.
Off the back of
just sneaks it right through that angle. So maybe creative mispositions or what, but that's an insane. If they win this fight, it is off of Izayaki's shoulders. So they all in the baby Diva. They need to clear Sombra.
So Lip is on EMP.
They EMP, a little bit frantic.
Hey, it's enough. Guys, it's a solo EMP, but gesture's pretty worth. That being said though, if they don't win, it's not worth. So let's see if they can get more. Fitz kills
Great commentary.
Flitter spent the whole game did enough. Flitter has spent the entire...
Okay. So if you're Seoul, you're not super happy about that. That should have been a clean fight win. You didn't even get a tick out of it. I mean, creative, like Izayaki just literally just solo kills too. I don't know how Fitz dies. I do not know how creative dies. Both unnecessary kills, nothing related as part of a plan or strategy. Just he clicked the head from across the map. No idea what happened. And you're not happy about that because you're happy about how you staged the dive. You're happy about how it executed. It just didn't happen. So now Seoul's kind of get taste their own medicine in terms of what happened on Night Market where they had sloppy macro, but they lost the mechanics. That's what's happening here. Seoul's out macroing Shanghai right now. They're out macroing them. But, you're happy that EMP was used. I think that was necessary just to make sure. But, so you can maybe, you have a support ult advantage you can abuse here. Or you can force a support ult with your EMP and then clean up after that. So we'll see. Looks like you win the ball tech. Yeah.
Every time he spawns, he dies.
Fate is really deep. What's going on, Fate?
Flitter spent the whole game.
Fate's grabbing the mega.
The entire defense dead.
It's a hacked mega, so he can fight on that. So now Shanghai's putting a lot more emphasis in checking that backline now.
This is how you know a profit is a problem.
So now do you notice now that Shanghai is putting more emphasis on checking the backdoor? Now do you notice how Seoul's adjusted and now they're using this flank again? That was hard contested earlier, but this was open, and now this is closed, and now this is open. You can't do both.
Gone as a Brigida player sees Prophet, he shield bashes away from Prophet.
Weird engage by Prophet. Prophet does a lot of these just kind of run down the middle and hope stuff happens. Prophet's mechanics look good, but his pathing really confuses me sometimes. That's not good pathing. I would love for Prophet to come up this way, and Prophet seems to he does this a lot with Pulse Bomb where he just cheats. He does these goofy engages and just hopes that nobody sees him. But if you see him, you instantly force recall or he dies.
You saw that in the cafe. DJ Gon didn't shield bash Prophet. He didn't try.
There's the rally. They can now just set up angles and point.
Stun him. He shield bash away.
I'm curious. I see a lot of blue here. So you
to get away. That's how you know Prophet's dangerous. He shield bashes away from.
Excuse me.
You saw that in the cafe. DJ Gon didn't.
Why did they
bash
trans?
Prophet. He didn't try and stun him. He shield bash
Why did they
away
trans?
from Prophet to get away. That's
oh, EMP. Reaction to EMP. Okay.
EMP hits one. Izayaki counters.
Okay. So EMP, Trance, Lee Jae-gong matches rally. Now, really what should happen here is that Seoul should play this slow and trance reactively as necessary. Because nothing from Shanghai should be really scary to them right now. Because they have all the angles. Shanghai's pretty much bottled up. Fitz gets hacked here, but the rally, he doesn't have rally arm. But he should be okay.
Well, so it's got a lot of defensive pressure coming through.
There's a trance. Oh, no trance? Yeah, there's a trance. He translocates out.
EMP
That's unfortunate. He would not like Fitz to leave if he's being tranced. I guess the trance timing properly, but...
Look, I'm going to be honest, guys. Jake might be in your house with a tire.
Okay, whoa, lip dice. How does lip die?
Pressure coming through now.
Prophet, he's armored up. He's in.
Look,
where is he at?
I'm going to be honest, guys. Jake
he's in the back lane, looks like.
With a tire.
And he does get the kill.
Prophet's in your bed, cuddling you already. You don't even know it. You're not even sure, and boom, he's there. Prophet gets another kill.
There's the mines. No support ults. Wait, does he get hacked?
The Prophet's in your bed, cuddling you already. You don't even know it.
This is such a miserable point to deal with, guys. Like, this is so rough to attack. Great hack. Completely removes the slam from the table. Jester, all Jester has to do is survive, and they should be able to walk into point. They do get mines and blue mines in point. Nice. Do you notice how Seoul Dynasty, they're not prioritizing these guys. They're prioritizing and cleaning up around the point. They're cleaning up the Sombra, like that was whoever I think was behind or something. They're cleaning up what was over here. Now they're cleaning up what's over here. Then they can prioritize point, because now the only risk is coming through the wormhole, a small little space. And the big thing here is, like, if they don't get picked, they should win. Even though they don't have any ultimates, they should win.
99%. He doesn't get the reset.
He gets hacked. Oh no.
Prophet killed him. Prophet gets the baby diva. Creative kills
Remake diva.
Flitter had an ult. Flitter had an
BJ Gong dies.
Izyaki's stunned. He's low.
They still have the map control. They still have the angles. You see how still, like, they're still controlling point. They have the angles here. Fate's really the only one. Well, flat out. Well, we'll see.
He's too low.
Oh my gosh.
Izyaki frags to you. It's a better slow
That's
down,
it.
and that's
wow. Not a lot to say here. I think Seoul had a slightly better macro in terms of, like, they just didn't int as much. I think Shanghai played that defense relatively well. I don't have a lot of complaints with how Shanghai played that defense. I think Seoul just eventually just grounded out through a war of attrition, and Shanghai had 2 opportunities to do the same thing, but they muffed it. So I think defense, that last round there was much cleaner Overwatch from both sides in terms of, like, how they're using ults, the positioning. They're not throwing, but the attack was pretty rough from Shanghai. Okay. Do you guys have any questions? So I don't know how this finished up. I mean, we can skip. We can check ahead. Looks like is it a 2-2?
1.
Yeah, it looks like maybe no 3-1. 3-1 Seoul.
So last fight.
Yeah, 3-1 Seoul. It's a 3-1 Seoul. Good on Seoul. I think their macro looked really weak on Volskaya. I don't know if it's Sabiol being in or just something goofy, and looked weak in Night Market, but they looked really like they looked. I think they definitely deserve the one in Hollywood. Definitely deserve the one in Hollywood. Much cleaner Overwatch played, and that's kind of what I'm looking for. Like, I want the team that, like, shows, like, a better macro understanding of how to play, not just the composition, because obviously I'm not exactly experienced with the comp, but, like, how to play the map and how to play the meta, or the, you know, how to play the game from a macros perspective. I want them to win. You know, I'm like, that team deserves to win, especially if I don't, like, have any favorites. I don't like care. Seoul versus Shanghai, they're both fine for me. But yeah, do you guys have any last questions before we wrap this up? He goes in with 1 Bleak Man, I don't know, then kills 2. I mean, it's weird, man. Like, it's weird. It feels like his engages are so clunky, and he just gets away with it because his mechanics are that clean. Maybe I'm missing something, but it does feel like he just goes main, and it just feels goofy. It feels like really, it feels like goofy, man. I don't know.